Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Tessa Murphy-Romboletti, and this is the Development and Government Relations Committee meeting. It's Wednesday, July 20th, about 6:30-ish. And we are here in City Council chambers. Folks, right now we have our committee members, Councilor McGivern, Councilor VACON. I was contacted by Councilor Rivera, who's coming back from a work commitment, so she should be here soon. We are also joined in council chambers by Councilor Maldonado Velez. I don't see other councilors on Zoom, so this is being broadcast on public access channel and also available on Zoom, and it's being streamed online, so there's lots of ways to watch your favorite.
Bartley is coming.
I believe Councilor Bartley is coming, as far as I know. I haven't heard otherwise. Wonderful, thank you. So with that, we've got a lot of great things on the agenda this evening, and I will entertain a motion to...
Motion to take up item 1 and open the public hearing.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. So first item, special permit application for new Holyoke Realty LLC at Whiting Farms Road, the lot to the immediate south of Gary Rome Hyundai, to construct a car wash facility. And this evening we are joined by Gary Rome himself. And are you joined by anyone, Gary, this evening?
Ferreira,
Dave Ferreira, Tim, and awesome, and Brian from Sage Engineering. Would you like to come in to the council chambers? Make yourselves comfortable.
So whoever is presenting will need to pick up a microphone so that they can get you for the taping.
Yes. All right, so I'm gonna turn it over to the presenters, the petitioners this evening, and then we'll have the opportunity for our counselors to ask questions. And then if there's anyone from the public, right now it doesn't look like there is, but you never know. We'll allow them to ask questions as well. So with that, I will kick it off to you, good sir.
So make,
Do you want to use that one?
so the green light is on, so you're live.
I'm live and in person, okay.
Yes.
All right. We put together a presentation, and in the presentation, I think we might be able to put some of these pages on the screen. We want to go through that. And
It looks like our wonderful
Jeffrey's-
Jeffrey is 2 steps ahead of us.
thank you, Jeffrey. So in this book that we have here, we put together just some information for folks that maybe don't know about us. First page, the next page is that one. And just talks about our family history. My family's been in Holyoke for over 90 years. My grandfather had a haberdashery store on High Street called the Samuel Store, and then my father started in the car business, and I started with him in the car business, and we've been on Main Street for quite a long time. And if you could follow along, but in '97, I redeveloped 1000 Main Street, and in 2014, I purchased a property adjacent. That's where the junkyard was, and cleaned that up. In 2015, moved to Whiting Farms Road to construct the new dealership, which was 2016. And then also in 2016, we installed a solar farm.
Okay.
To date, the solar farm has saved over 7 million pounds of CO2, the equivalent of planting 53,000 trees. And it also subsidizes 12 buildings in Holyoke that are part of the Holyoke Housing Authority. It reduces their electric costs. And then in 2020, when COVID-19 started, we didn't shut down, we stayed open, and we continue to grow in our location and set all sorts of records for our sales. And then just recently, we celebrated our 25th anniversary as a Hyundai dealer, and that brings us to today. The next page are just some old nostalgic photos. That was Gary Rome Datsun, well, first Gary Rome Motor Car Company, which is a used car dealership, which in 1970 became Gary Rome Datsun. 1982, they changed the name. And there I am, going to the dogs. And then the billboard that was on the end of Riverdale Road forever, with a clock on it. And then next page is some other photos of our current facility while it was under construction, and just a nice shot of where we are today and what it looks like. Next page is, and I have a large rendering of it here, this is the facility that we would like to build on the property adjacent. It's the name may change from Gary Rome to something else, but it will be the Gary Rome car wash. We may include Jack or Daisy in there somewhere, but and it's also going to be a detail center. So that's what it'll look like. Very similar to the building we have now. This building is not going to be up on the street. It's actually going to be below street level, so it's not going to be up, like the other dealership is at the time. And then the next page is the street view of what the property looked like before we built there. The street view of the current property from the street. And then there's another view with a circle around it. That's where the car wash will go. Next page is just also kind of an aerial view of what the car wash will look like with the parking and the actual physical structure. Next page is building plan of what it'll look like. This is a car wash. This is a car wash tunnel over here. This is a touchless car wash over here. And then this will be a waiting area, bathroom, manager's office. And then over here are 3 bays. And this is where we'll be doing the detailing for our clients from the dealership. And then the far bay over here is a detail center. So if you want to get a little bit nicer cleaning of your car instead of just a car wash, you can leave it with us and we'll detail your car. So that's really the presentation. The next page, we did outline the benefits to the city. And if you want, I'll go through those. First benefit is increased utility revenue from increased usage of city water, sewage, gas, and electricity. The next benefit to the city is the increased land and building value, which of course will result in more taxes. Job creation, we'll be adding 8 to 12 new employees. Just get a little drink of water. Currently, over 30% of our employees live in Holyoke. Many of our employees have been with us. Tim, for example, our general manager, just celebrated his 20th anniversary. Our parks manager, Josue Rivera, is from Holyoke. He celebrated his 15th anniversary. And Giovanni Vasquez, also from Holyoke, celebrated his 15th anniversary as our service manager. So we are all about Holyoke. In addition, it'll be a convenience for the folks in the city because it's the only state-of-the-art car wash in the city, and it'll add value to and will be an amenity for those people in the city. And we can post and brag and promote another positive thing happening in Holyoke as we grow Holyoke. Next, we talk about how it'll attractively contribute to the ongoing efforts as we expand and upgrade the business landscape in the Ingleside area. So there's a lot happening there. Lastly, we want to increase our community partnership, and we'll host many car wash fundraising events for schools, nonprofits, and teams. So if Holyoke High School football team wants to raise money, whoever goes in for a car wash, we can do it at a discounted rate, and we'll just contribute the $5 or whatever the difference is right to that charity. So it's a very easy way to stay involved. Green initiatives, we're aligning our new facility will be aligned and eco-friendly just like the Hyundai dealership. The detail and car wash center will utilize the LEED standards for renewable technologies to the extent allowable and maintain our commitment to reduce our carbon footprint. We're going to use recycled building materials, high efficiency windows and doors. The roof is designed, if in the event we want to add solar later, it'll be designed for that. and a large percentage of the water is recycled and reclaimed, so that'll reduce any runoff from the car wash. Indoors and outdoors, we have LED ambient motion sensing lights, and we use biodegradable car wash foams. I thought there might be some questions, so we highlighted some questions that might come up and just provided the answers to those. I can read through them if you want, or... Yeah? Okay. So the first disclaimer was that the Gary Rome Hyundai already has a special permit for a car wash, but that was a little different. So, but the car wash that's on site is really a very basic car wash, and our clients and the folks in the community really deserve a better car wash. So that's why we're building this one here, so that our clients will be getting their cars washed in the new car wash. Question came up, will the car wash be an eyesore like other car washes? Absolutely not. This modern, sleek design car wash building will mirror the building that's adjacent to the Hyundai dealership. The curb appeal will only increase once the car wash is built, as we have plans for lush shrubbery and newly planted trees to surround the building. Trash receptacles will be enclosed and not visible from the street. The trash barrels along the side of the vacuums will be emptied throughout the day and at closing time each night. Will the car wash increase noise in the operation? Noise pollution will be minimal. We talked about this before. The vacuum, the motor to the vacuum is actually housed inside the building, and it's in a soundproof room, and it'll only be running if somebody's actually using the vacuum. So there won't be any noise from that. The soundproof walls, as I mentioned, will be installed around the central motor. The tunnel will be ultra quiet, high efficiency, and we're using something called stealth dryers, and they'll be strategically placed inside the exit of the car wash back from the street. So what we've done is moved the dryers back so you really won't hear them, and also we raised them up in the ceiling so they'll be even quieter. The blowers, these blowers are 30% quieter than conventional blowers, and as I just said, the baffles in the high ceiling walls will decrease any noise. Will the car wash increase traffic? The flow of our car wash will increase traffic minimally. We have been involved in negotiations and discussions with 3 car wash experts. They're listed here: Auto Wash Maintenance, Auto Wash Technologies, and Sonny's Enterprises. And they have all told us that they expect minimal trip counts on the property, and based upon their studies of experience, we have more than enough space on our wide property and wide driveway, and ample space on the lots to accommodate any type of car flow. Another question which comes up is, how will loitering be prevented from the car wash when it's closed? The new car wash is going to mirror the same hours as the auto dealership. So when the auto dealership is closed, the car wash is closed. There will be no loitering. There will be a gate. It'll be locked.
And those hours are?
We're open till 8:30 in the evening. On Saturdays, we're open till 6. On Sundays, we're open till 5.
And you open at 8:30 or earlier?
8 o'clock.
8?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Sure. So the locking gate will be installed using when the facility is closed. Operation of the vacuums and pay stations will cease upon closure. No one will be able to enter or use the car wash or any of its amenities during the closed hours. And as I said, the hours will mirror those of the dealership. What type of security? We've, as you know, we've operated a safe and secure business at our location since 2016, and we don't expect any problems with the car wash. The car wash building, the lots, the driveways, and everything else will have full security system. Smart cameras with AI learning will be installed. High-efficiency LED lighting with motion sensors will be installed in all areas, and the locking gate will also prevent access when a car wash is closed, as well as a fence along the property line, and a manager will always be on duty during our opening hours. And there'll be signs letting people know that they're on camera, and to, you know. And then the next page, here we are, you're ahead of me. Project estimate. The construction to begin is a 9,500 square foot car wash facility. We hope to put a shovel in the ground in the fall have the foundation in the ground and have it up so we can work on it during the winter and we could have a grand opening in the spring. The car wash will include a 130-foot tunnel, a touchless car wash bay for those folks that don't want anything touching their car. There's a machine that goes around your car with high air pressure and water pressure, and it cleans your car and dries your car without ever touching your car. Detail and reconditioning space for 9 cars and 16 outdoor vacuums. The estimated project cost is about $4 million in the city of Holyoke. And then the next page, I won't read through all this, but we made an extensive list of what we've done and how active we've been in the community. We've been involved with it's called Holyoke High School, North and South. Okay. We've been involved with the Holyoke High School. We give away a car to a graduating Holyoke senior, part of our Year of Excellence program. We've been involved with the Peck Middle School. We're involved with Link to Libraries, which is really great. We're able to donate some books and go there and read to the class, which is a lot of fun. That was great. We're involved with Mass Hire, Youth Works, the Children's Museum. Oh yes, so I'll be a celebrity dancer. I'll read this out loud. At Fancy Steps 2022 as a fundraising event. We're very active and involved with Holyoke Community College with their Together HCC Day of Giving. And then there's a list of other things we've done. The Holyoke High School Theater, the Holyoke Bar Association, Homework House, Holyoke Firefighters Association, Jonathan Jono Roberts, the Children's Fund, Shriners Hospital, Providence Ministries, Food Bank of Western Mass, the Zoo in Forest Park, Latino Scholarship Fund, Rays of Hope, John DiNapoli Tournament for 23 years? Is it 23? I think. Yeah. Ronald McDonald House of Springfield, Each Moment We're Alive, Hyundai Hope on Wheels, Holyoke Taxpayers Association, the Holyoke Community College Foundation, I'm on their board, Police Relief Fund, Donahue School, we do some work with them, and of course the Chamber of Commerce. And then the next page are just a few photo ops from events we've had at the dealership or some of the things that we've been involved with. And there's another page. The next page was Peck, the YMCA. We did an event there, etc.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Great presentation. Answered,
you.
I'm sure, a lot of questions, but I'm sure folks will have some questions. So with that, I'm going to open it up to first our committee. Councilor McGivern.
He's in the back.
And Councilor Bartley has joined us, and we'll have a seat for him at this table soon.
Thank you, and I appreciate the other presentation. Just a few questions. The queue for cars going into the car wash, the long tunnel itself, how many cars can be lined up?
There's 2 lanes that can easily fit. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you have to.
There's 2 lanes of traffic for that dedicated to the tunnel that will be able to queue about 5 on each of the lanes before it even hits the next queuing area. If we were to count queuing all the way up the driveway, it would be 24 plus cars. But we meet and exceed the zoning of 5 per. If I remember correctly, there's supposed to be 5 vehicle queuing per bay, and we at least double it for that particular car wash. And then the touchless has, I think, 10 to 12 before it backs up into the driveway.
And the parking for customers and employees would be to the,
It's the smaller parking lot that Gary's going to point out for me. That's for the. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm in the worst spot possible. So on site, there's a small parking lot. Gary, can you point to the left a little bit? That's for the car wash employees and the customers, and then the lot to the east is for his employees and
Yep.
in Gary's presentation, Gary, you talked a lot about the quietness of the vacuums and the location of the vacuums. It sounds like with the vacuum being inside, that makes a lot of sense. What about a buffer, zone from Whiting Farms Road for where those vacuums are located? What's going to be in front?
Well, we have We will have plantings there, so it won't be an eyesore. It'll actually be attractive. They're located right.
The average grade there is a little bit lower than the road too, so that the sound won't have a straight shot off site. It'll have kind of a natural grass slope as well.
We're joined by Counselor Jenny Rivera, and we'll also have you join us after this. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Counselor Bacon?
Thank you. So some of the things I was just reviewing in the application and just want to confirm, because on the special permit, we usually will put conditions, and they're usually what you've included in your application. You've been to this rodeo before, right?
Yes.
So a question has come up from one of the abutters that right now there's a tree line that exists on the property line between where you're developing and the condominiums. Yeah. And so the question is, would that be maintained along with the other plantings that you've indicated in the application? 'Cause-
If something needs to be maintained, we'll certainly maintain it. And it's a 100-foot buffer that I gave there, right?
It will stay there. is
So the,
correct answer.
yeah, so, yeah, the question was like, are all the trees
Yes.
that are there going to stay there,
Yeah, it'll
basically?
be 100
Yes.
trees that will stay.
Okay, all right. And the plantings that you did indicate are going around the building as well as the Whiting Farms side of the building? Or are the new plantings going somewhere else?
There'll be plantings along in front of the vacuums, and there will be plantings around the building as well. And you can see the green space right here.
Yeah.
You good? You good? Any other questions from counselors?
Just a couple.
Of course, absolutely, sorry.
And I think I saw that you're putting a sidewalk in the front of that new building. Did I or not?
I don't think a sidewalk.
There's not.
On Whiting
No,
Farms?
no, no.
So is that called for by planning at all?
It wasn't called for planning for the auto dealership, so I don't expect it would be called for here.
Okay, because typically we see sidewalks go in with a new building, but
Okay.
that's just something that usually happens.
Okay.
I'm not sure why it didn't happen the other time, but
Okay. Right.
maybe, so if we find that that is supposed to happen, would you be all right with it
Of course. Yeah.
being on the list of things to do?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. We can confirm that separately, yeah. And you've already talked about the gate, and would you be okay with it being documented that there would not be a self-service bay as part of this car wash?
Absolutely.
And also that the access to the vacuums is only part of a person taking advantage of your service of the car wash.
That's-
That it is not a separate walk-in, hangout.
Correct.
vacuum
Correct. Absolutely.
thing.
Yeah. That's the way it's designed. Is you need to go through the car wash in order to use the vacuums. I suppose you could drive on the lawn or something, but
Well, I suppose some people will do anything, but the concern of the neighbors was just that, and in the past with some of the car washes, we've had concerns about people hanging out and being noisy and, creating some disturbance. So that's the reason why I bring that up, not
we don't
specific
want people
to
hanging
your
out.
project, but due to some other concerns that have been brought to us in the past. And the hours would be 8 to 8:30, Monday through Friday.
Monday through
and
Thursday,
Monday through Thursday.
right? And
And-
8 to 6 on Friday, and 8 and I'm sorry, 8 to 5 on 8 to 6 on Friday, 8 to 6 on Saturday.
And Saturday, okay.
And Sunday as well.
Oh,
Yep.
okay, 8 to 6.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
all right. Because that's usually just something that we put in to clarify what that'll be. All right, I think that's all I have for now. The public might have some other.
Yes, so if I'm not seeing any other questions from counselors, is there anyone in attendance this evening specifically about item number 1 related to the Gary Rome Car Wash and Detail Center? Okay, not seeing anyone. Yep, oh, for this, okay, yes. And just state your name and address, you know the drill. I don't think it's on.
There we go.
There we go.
There.
JR, John Rivera, live on 125 Cabot in Ward 1. I'm actually wondering how this kind of like impact, this new car wash impact, like the heat island effect that's currently kind of, I'm concerned about in, around this area. I used to live in Tokaniki, actually I was raised over there. And so when it was under kind of construction and whatnot, and when all the kind of trees left the area, it kind of further exacerbated like the tree or the heat island effect, even though there is grassy land. I'm wondering, are there going to be trees kind of planted around side, and will there be a little bit more green areas around Gary Rome, specifically entailing as well to the new car wash as well? That's all I had.
Okay, so maybe you just want to show them this rendition so they can see the green.
Would it be possible to go back to that the aerial photo overlay? That showed how small. That showed how small of an impact this property is, or excuse me, this development is to the net property.
Yes, if we could, Jeffrey.
And there are additional
Well, we
trees
have
being
it
planted,
in
of course, but the development as a whole is very, it's very insignificant to the size of the property, the amount of impervious surface that's
For
created.
the audience, because they're not seeing this.
If you want to pick up your sign,
Yeah, you can show
you can.
this.
It's a little different because it shows the dealership as a whole.
Okay.
Nice to meet you.
Just make sure, sorry, into the microphone.
Yeah.
Oh,
This will stay. This is 100 feet of woods. This will stay, and then it'll be all this greenery right here. It'll be greenery there, greenery here.
And so will there be trees?
One of the residents had that concern too.
That's great to know. I also had one more question, if that's okay.
sure.
Just one more question. Have butters went out to the tenants nearby at the Tokaniki complexes?
Notifications, you mean?
Yeah, like a butter notices?
I believe, Jeffrey, did abutters get notified as they should
Say
have?
I was called by an abutter.
Yeah, they
relative
do
to
go
it,
out
as
to
notified
everybody
person.
who is within 300 feet of the location.
300 feet, okay.
Good to know. Thanks.
Thank you very much. I assume so, but I just wanted to check.
Well, the verify, right?
Appreciate it.
Jeffrey is in the Wizard of Oz closet.
Yes. Yes, come on up. State your name and address.
So Katie Talbot, I'm not a Holyoke resident.
okay.
That's why- Okay, cool. So I work with Neighbor to Neighbor here in Holyoke.
Oh, I got, Madam Chair, just a point of order.
Yes,
Okay, so you'll need to make a motion to suspend the rules if she's not a Holyoke resident. I think that
for subcommittee meetings too?
For hearing.
For a hearing? Okay. Can I have a motion to suspend the rules and allow this
So moved.
individual? Okay. Thank you. Second?
It's a public hearing required. I don't think we have to, but I'll second it.
Thank you. Go for it.
Thank you, counselors. I just wanted to second one of JR's comments. When we think about the climate impact, the environmental impact, and we're trying to decide whether to bring a car wash, which uses water and all kinds of other resources that throughout the country we're struggling to figure out how to equitably distribute those. And when we think about the fact that we're in a heat wave, we're not alone in that. It's happening across the country, it's happening across the world. So when we think about, again, putting down more cement, taking away greenery, I would just hope that that would be part of the decision making in this. Thanks.
Thank you very much. All right. Anyone else from the public? No one on Zoom that I see with a hand up. Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion, we close the public hearing?
Well, before we do that, I have my hand up.
Oh, okay. Well, I looked back at you. My apologies.
I'm-
Counselor Bartley?
I'm sorry. Gary, thanks for being here as always. Thanks for your investment to Holyoke. You know, it's very important. There's probably 4 or 5 things on here, Gary, that are, I think they're all in your booklet. I'm going to make a motion to, before we close the public hearing, I just want to say what I'm going to make a motion for, to have conditions on your permit. And I think you're pretty well familiar with how this goes, right? So the permit has to be renewed every year, but you have to be, I mean, we're allowed under our rules to make reasonably related conditions onto your permit. And so the ones I'm entertaining, I think you have in your booklet here, would be as follows. One, that you would have appropriate shrubbery, buffering, especially the Whiting Farms area. But one thing I want to ask about that, is there a fence between your property and Whiting Farms
There will be a fence, right?
where the car wash is?
There will be a fence right here. Yes.
Okay, where's,
Right here, right?
It was shown along the tree line, and then it connects to your fence at the rear of the property.
Right here?
There isn't one shown along Whiting Farms.
Okay. all
no,
right.
not at Whiting Farms, but I meant the apartments.
Yes, yeah, right here.
There is a fence, isn't there?
Yes.
There will be a fence.
Oh, there will be a fence?
Yeah.
Okay,
And
and,
that it connects to the existing fence that's currently there at the back of the dealership,
At the back.
right,
where his storage lot is,
well, okay,
and
and
the
then,
solar.
Fence right there. Yep.
okay, that's I just want to orient myself. Gary, where's Whiting Farms Road? Is it right there? Okay, so along, I guess, what would be considered the south side of your lot is, what's there now? Is there a fence there?
There's nothing here now. There's this 100-foot buffer of trees.
Oh, okay, 100-foot buffer of trees, okay, so you're, and I think we heard you say that if that had to be, is that on your property?
Yes.
It is, okay.
Yeah, and I also gave HG&E an easement over here so that they could, yeah.
Okay, and how high are they, the trees? Are they kind of,
30, 40 feet.
oh, okay, so they're pretty mature.
It's mature wood line.
Okay, they're premature. Okay, so that's, and your plan is to plant more shrubbery or greenery kind of on the Whiting Farm roadside? Okay. Are you intending to plant anything more along the fence line?
No.
No, because you probably don't need to.
Already full.
It's already full. Okay, all right. So I just wanted to, so that we'll skip. I think we'll probably motion that your hours of operation will be what we just discussed, same thing. Okay, that's one. All right. A second one would be, I think that a manager would be on duty at all times. Okay, so you're good to go with that because you said that. And
Everything that I put in writing, we're going to do.
right. Yeah. So I'm going to, at some point, I'm going to motion to put them in as a condition on the special permit, though. So yeah. So and then I think Linda asked you about the no self-service bay, and you were good to go with that, correct? Okay, so those are the, so as far as I can tell, this is a fantastic project. I'm looking forward to supporting it and voting for it. Your investment is really important. I think that what you spoke about is in terms of even green energy and being, recognizing how important that is. You're steps ahead of everybody. And because no one ever comes in here promoting that and saying that that's part of their plan, but you did.
Thank you.
I think that's really important to note. I think also what you've done with the solar panels in the back, that doesn't get much recognition. We didn't hear a recognition tonight, but it should be recognized that you've installed all the solar panels on the east side of your property too. So that's also really. That's really noteworthy, Gary. And then as far as the water, Holyoke, if we're one thing, we're maybe not land rich, but we're certainly water rich, where there's and we heard from the manager a month ago saying that overall usage in this city is down relative to years past. So while there's water restrictions all over the Commonwealth and all over New England, that is not the case in this city. In fact, our total usage is down. But sometimes that message doesn't get conveyed clearly to the public. So maybe it will partially tonight. So,
Okay.
So having another customer for the Holyoke Waterworks is actually another benefit. Maybe you referenced that in here. I'm not sure if you did or you didn't.
Yeah, I did it at the beginning. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so that's all. I think that's all I have to say, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. There's a motion to close the public hearing.
And I'll second that.
Wonderful. Anyone else who walked in that may want to say anything about this? Okay.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Just speak into the microphone and say your name and address.
My name is Felicita Martinez. I live in 456 Toganiki Road. I know where Mr. Gary wants to do. It's behind my house.
What's that?
This is behind my house where you want to do your car wash. We have problems there with floods. Okay? I live behind his dealership. Where he wants to do it is a threshold right here. The only people that have fence are the ones from Farnham because the first ones are private. After the private houses, those are Farnham. So it's a threshold where motorcycles, dirt bikes, they go by there any other time, which in one occasion somebody stole from his dealer some rims, which it appeared next door. The problem we have there is with the floods. So if he's gonna do the car wash, we have one in Main Street. What is another car wash? There's people that have floods in Farnham. So if he does build that there, I don't know if we, in my area, and building 25, it's gonna get flooded. There's people where I live that have mildew, where nobody cares about. There's people sick. But my concern is, if he does that car wash there, if our building is gonna get flooded. Because after they did the other building in Farnham, everybody got flooded. So first of all, for me, if I would have been a council, fix the pipes, and then we'll talk about it. There's a lot of things other that we could talk about that are more important than a car wash. I'm sorry, Mr. Gary. I know you don't care, but I do care because those are my people. You know? So there's a lot of things more important than building other, cutting nature and
Thank you.
doing things like that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I will give the opportunity thank you everyone. I will give the opportunity for folks to respond. I want to remind everyone that's here tonight that public hearings are an opportunity for folks to express their concerns. So I appreciate that you came out. I wish more people in general would, so thank you. And I do want to remind folks that a public hearing is not necessarily a debate. It's an opportunity for people to present a project, and it's also an opportunity for residents, for city councilors to ask questions. So I'm going to remind everyone of that, both on the council and in the audience. I want to give, this is a legitimate concern, and if I was a resident nearby, I'd want to give the proponent an opportunity to address it and answer that and discuss, what plans going forward would make sure that this doesn't happen in the future. So, yes, Councilor VACON.
Thank you. So I think it would be certainly in order for the applicant to be able to explain how the drainage on the site is going to be managed.
Yep.
Because I'm not sure what the issue of the pipes that the last person that spoke is. I don't know if it's on the property of the apartments or if it's a city pipe. But relative to this project, it might be helpful if the applicant could explain how the water will be handled on the site.
Yes, please.
So I can speak to how the water is handled on the site, and all new development in Massachusetts is required to essentially match or be better than the existing runoff leaving the property. So we have measures in place that will capture the water in a detention basin on site and slowly release the water to the point where it was always going, but it's at a rate equal to or less than what it's doing today. So that's reviewed by the DPW, the city engineer, and it's under a stormwater permit to the same 10 standards that the entire state's held to. So I can assure you that the water leaving the property will not increase as a result of this project.
Okay, and that's absolutely something that I think it's great that the applicant is here to hear this firsthand. And I trust that, you'll be following state and local regulations, but also that if, this becomes a concern in the future, that both the ward counselor, who's here tonight as well, which is great,
I have my card right here for you.
and we'll work together to make sure that going forward we can improve these conditions and prevent further disruption. And I appreciate you coming here. Councilor McGivern, did you have your hand up?
If I could, because I think
Yes.
the neighbor, Ms. Talbot, had a good point too, and if I understand the proposal, water is going to be recycled within the car wash. As part of, there's a recycling component as part of what, this is a very modern type car wash that I don't think we've ever seen in the city of Holyoke. And, to reuse water and to recycle it, and there's no hazardous chemicals being used is a big difference from what we're used to with car washes.
Yeah, I mean, this system will have an underground storage tank that they call a reclamation tank. And a portion of the water that goes into the drains inside the car wash will go into that tank, be cleaned, filtered, and reused to wash the next car in line.
Okay.
Not sure if I want my car washed by someone else's car wash, but I guess it's environmentally good.
I see someone from the public.
I had an additional question. How much of the portion of the water that's going in the tank is being recycled, if you may? If you have that number.
Go ahead.
It's a variable number. 30% is kind of what they say is the average, but if the water quality is higher in the city, they're able to increase that. It's not really going to come out until the real final design of the car wash equipment.
Okay, cool. Good to know. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I just want to ask a question on that.
Sure, Councilor Bartley.
Yeah, I just threw the chair too. Gary, what your associate's name? Luke. Luke.
I'm Brian Balicki.
Oh. And you're Gary Rome, right? Okay. So all right. So Brian.
Yes.
Oh, Brian. All right. So just threw chair to Brian because I think I didn't really put enough thought into the water runoff. So your parcel is, though it abuts Whiting Farms and Farnham and all that, is a little bit, in my recollection, it's a little bit lower so it's not on the same kind of topographical level. Isn't it set down a little bit more?
Yeah, it is in a little bit of a bowl.
Okay, and then it would be hard for me to see how water from your facility, but then I don't know. I mean, as far as any kind of runoff or into the soil, I mean, that's all subject to a stormwater authority permit, I would assume.
Correct.
Okay, and that permit would say that. So your retention area is going to be, where's that situated on the
It's
property?
on site between the two parking lots, basically. There's that green strip that runs north and south.
Yes.
There's a detention basin shown there that will capture all the water.
And how large is that basin?
I don't know the exact
Okay.
number off the top of my
So
head, but it's engineered to handle all of the runoff that we generate on that site, from the hard surfaces, the building roof, the grass, the sidewalks, everything.
So it's retained in there, and then it's dispersed into the stormwater pipes?
It's slowly dispersed off-site where it originally goes, yeah.
Okay, slowly dispersed off-site and ultimately to
to this municipal system.
Yeah, all right, to where it's, okay, so, and, all right, and so just, because that was a concerning comment by the resident at Whiting Farms, but I wonder if that's, where is she? Ma'am, where are you? Where's your apartment? Is it?
My apartment is right.
Oh, can you speak right into the microphone? Sorry, thank you.
Ma'am,
My
where's it?
apartment is right in the back of his dealership where he wants to do the car wash.
Where the
There's-
car wash is, right?
Yes, where exactly. So
Okay.
our part doesn't have a fence. That's what I was saying. There's floods. Instead for me of building a car wash,
And where's the runoff come from? Because you would be where your unit the slope would rise kind of if you're heading east. It kind of goes up a hill as you're going east. So are you kind of at the bottom of that area?
I'm in the right top.
You're, okay.
But the water, we always have floods. So if they're going to drain the water through the sewer pipes, it's gonna be a big problem because there's gonna be a lot of cars. And there's gonna be a lot of floods. Our basements will be flooded.
So when does this through the chair to the when does the flooding usually happen in your unit?
Well-
Is that the big rainstorms or is it?
Sewer pipes flooded, rains.
Okay, I mean, my reason I'm asking, have you Gary's, I know he's not a car wash there now, but he's been running a business with a lot of employees, and so they use a lot of water. Have you noticed in the last 5 or 6 years?
I don't live in the bottom. I live up here
No,
because
no.
Farnham is not where I live. I live in Tokeniki Road, Tokeniki
Right.
Hill. But our apartments, they get flooded too.
So that's substantially uphill from where.
Yes,
Yeah.
it would be uphill from your.
There'd be absolutely no impact from this on that.
Well,
On Tokeniki. Which number, excuse me just for a second, just
Sure.
to clarify, which number Tokeniki are you at?
456 Tokeniki Road. I already showed you the picture where he wants to do this. I already have
Oh,
it.
we have the picture here of where he
But
wants
it's
to
not
do it.
that one. It's the one I got from the back of my house, from my apartment. He could show you any picture he wants to take. I could go and tell an architect, this is what I want to build. I would love somebody to take their time, precious time, and go and look and ask questions.
I'm happy to do that, ma'am.
I'm telling you because I could see here people left and right appointing stuff for other people and doing this and doing that. Nobody goes and knock on the door and say, listen, we're planning to do this. Do you have any objections? What do you think? What are your opinions?
So, did you receive an abutters notice this evening?
No, I didn't
she's on
have
Tokeniki.
any.
She's on Tokeniki.
Tokeniki.
I
is-
am.
'Cause it's not
I
for-
live in Tokeniki.
Right.
I live in Tokeniki,
Right.
456. My name is Felicita.
Right.
Not in a butter.
Okay. I get it. No, we're good. Okay. So I will be contacting you. If you could write on this paper for me your phone number, please.
And here, Gary, if you can hand her that too. Thanks.
Because
Yeah, if she's having flooding in her thing, she should be talking to her property
I,
manager.
Excuse
there's.
me?
Okay, hold on, please. She wasn't saying anything bad. She was saying that if, this may be something we want to talk to also the property manager about as well. There's a lot of folks that we.
I'm going to give you my phone number and address, and I know you're going to leave it here because you guys, you're not going to call me. I'm going to do it because I'm polite. But
Okay,
I don't like
ma'am.
people to be taking me like
I can really appreciate your frustration, and I will prove you wrong, but I mean,
That's right.
okay. All right, well, I am going to prove you wrong. I don't know what else to say. I appreciate you coming down here. I really appreciate your frustration. This is the first I'm hearing about it tonight. I have not been contacted in the past, and I don't know if others at this table or in this room have, but I'm speaking as myself, as the chair, and I appreciate your dialogue, and I appreciate you bringing this to our attention, and I would also appreciate the opportunity to respond and come see you and meet with you, and we can go from there. Because if this is a bigger issue, if it's bigger than this project, if it's bigger, if there's other things that need to be taken into consideration, that's really important. So thank you for coming, and thank you for expressing your concerns. I think everyone here really appreciates what you've had to say, and yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. I see someone else from the public has their hand raised. If you'd
Thank you.
like to come up, thank you.
In favor or in opposition to the project?
Hi, my name is Nikki Dawson. I live at 226 Lyman Street. Thank you, Gary Rome, for all that you do for our community. This is kind of off topic, but not really because it's unrelated to projects. I was hoping if I could speak to you and give you an idea for projects for our future, and I was hoping maybe you already maybe even have those in place. So I wanted to ask you, what are you doing for EV chargers? Because their electronic vehicles are becoming more popular, and there's not enough electronic vehicle stations to accompany the demand. So maybe, hopefully, you could be the solution for that.
Thank you.
Before we answer, so thank you for being here and thank you for your comment. If we could keep it brief, just because it's not directly related to the project, and I would encourage you guys to definitely connect.
Okay, cool.
But
Quick answer to that is we are way ahead of the curve with that. We currently have 6 electric vehicle charging stations on our property. 2 of them are called superchargers, so you can charge your battery to 80% in 18 minutes. So we have those chargers on the property now, and we are a leader in that realm.
Oh, well, that
Nice, thank you so much. So you're gonna, that's
Great.
good news. Thank you so
I
much.
still encourage you guys to connect. Okay.
So on the motion, if everybody's been heard,
I believe everyone's been heard.
so we have the motion before us.
So we have the motion to close the public hearing, and we had a second, I believe. Okay. Do I have to do a roll call or no?
No, we're all here.
Okay, great. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. 4 yeses. 5 yeses.
5 committee members.
Sorry, 5 committee members. It's been a long day. All right.
I'll make a motion to add the following conditions for consideration onto a special permit. The conditions would be the hours of operation for the dealership would be Monday through Thursday, 8 to 8:30, Friday, 8 to 6, Saturday, 8 to 6, Sunday, 8 to 5.
What did you say, 5?
That's motion 1.
That's what I thought. 8 to 6 on all 3.
Right there, 8 to 6. That's motion 1. Now I'll lump them together.
Okay.
Motion 2 would be that a manager be on duty during all business hours. And number 3 is the dealership, the owner would not allow self-service bays at this facility. That's my motion.
And so we don't have a motion at the moment to approve the special permit. You're suggesting conditions.
I'm
that
putting
would be
condition.
determined?
I didn't make a motion to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
So I would like to also add to the conditions that's already been agreed to in the public hearing that buffer of trees be maintained
Okay.
and preserved between the residents and the new project.
Yep.
And that the shrubbery, as mentioned in the application, will be planted and maintained to provide a buffer on the Whiting Farm side and in the areas noted in the application.
Okay.
And that if it is required that sidewalks be installed as a part of the project, that the applicant will do that. And that as a consideration of use, access to the vacuums is part of the car wash service, not a separate use on the property.
Okay. Do I need to repeat all of those?
No, I read it into the
Okay,
mic
great,
and it's
great.
recorded.
I was going to say, guys, I don't know about that.
Jeffrey
Okay,
has it.
perfect.
And these are really in response to concerns raised by the residents in the area. And these projects, when they abut next to residential areas, are always the most sensitive. So it's just to have the win-win for the business and for the quality of life issues for the residents, so that's,
Understood.
yeah. So
So-
I hope I've covered everything that people raised with me, but
And-
I'll second Linda's motion. I don't think anybody's second mine, so we got
well,
to.
they're
forming
together.
list.
I can't second my own, I don't think so.
So,
So if you,
Do I have a second for Counselor's motion?
Second to proposed amendments.
Okay. And seeing that the applicant is in favor of these conditions and can agree to them, should, all those in favor?
aye. I'll make a motion to recommend approval of special permit subject to the aforesaid conditions.
Do I have a
I'll
second?
second that.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Yes.
Discussion?
Discussion? Counselor?
Thank you. On a motion to approve the amendments, I would speak favorably, but I do want to note and the concerns of members of our audience and what will take place. The stormwater management as has been presented here, but doesn't even have to be presented here, is a very important part of not just the municipality, but this state. Stormwater laws on the state level have increased dramatically over the last couple of decades to make sure that new development pays attention to stormwater management. The recycling water, I think, answers something partial. I'm maybe not full favor of the question raised by neighbor to neighbor, but this is an environmentally friendly proposal for a car wash, as I stated, I think earlier, to a degree which I've never seen before. And I think that is something that we need to welcome, because business and new business is part of the growth of this community. Jobs, taxes that pay for the services within our city itself. And I think the other concern from 450, is it 456 Tokeniki?
Yes.
Okay, I believe, and I live in an area where a person built a home behind me, and it did cause some issues. I believe that there are local ordinances and state laws that can look into that to determine where your water problem is coming from. And I think that is something that I know Councilor Murphy Ramboletti stated she'll look into it with you. I'll be happy to help out, and if we can check that out for you. It's not the car wash that's causing your problem, but there could be other problems that are causing issues on Tokeniki, and certainly should be looked at by, if not by the city, by the proper authorities. But I think overall the project before us is a plus, far more of a plus than any detrimental issues that could come from it. I mean, a car wash is a car wash, but we all need them, and this one is proposed correctly, and I will vote in favor of it with the amendments.
Thank
you. Sure.
Thank you. And continuing under discussion, so as the Ward 5 counselor, why you heard me making some of these conditions is in the interest of the residents there. And from time to time, I've met with the property managers up there, and depending on what part of the project and units that you're in, some of the responsibility goes to them, and in some situations, it's a city side issue. So I've worked with folks on those matters, so if you need to get clarification further in that regard, you have my card, and I'm known for getting back to folks when they have a question or concern. So I'd be happy to do that in concert with my at-large counselors. Thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Roll call.
Oh, it keeps me on my toes, this procedural
We're all here.
stuff.
We're not on hybrid.
You don't need a roll call?
We're not on hybrid. We're all here.
Y'all are killing me.
We're all here. We're good.
Then you're keeping me on my toes.
All right. Okay, we're all here, so
Showed up.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, that's 5 yeses. And with that, I want to thank you guys for coming in. I want to thank the residents for coming in as well. Ms. Martinez, I will be in touch with you. I'll send you a text message from my cell phone tonight so you have it, and we'll be in touch.
And it'll go to the city council meeting.
and this is going to go to the full city council meeting. This is for our August 2nd meeting. The first Tuesday of August. So it could be the second or I think it's the second. So with that, thank you. Free to go. And then I will invite Councilor Rivera and Councilor Bartley to either have a seat at the table or great.
Thank you very much. Nice to see you.
Thank you.
Have a good summer. Well, I'll see you soon.
You too.
I'll make a motion to take number 2 off the table and open the public hearing.
Second.
Great. So item number 2. All those in favor?
Aye.
Jane, you can sit here, if you don't mind.
Okay. Just wait for folks to clear out. Absolutely. Thank you.
Good night. Have a good night.
So item number 2 this evening is a special permit application for Jose T. Almonte to build a 4-family home at the empty lot to the immediate north of 81 Bridge Street. And I believe this evening we are joined by Mr. Almonte and his attorney, if you guys come in.
Here.
So I'm just going to remind everyone that, those speaking this evening, make sure you're speaking into the microphone. If the green button's on, the microphone's on so that our viewers at home can hear you. And a reminder that public hearings are an opportunity for everyone to learn more, express their opinions or concerns or thoughts, ask questions, but this is not a place to debate. We're all going to get along peacefully. So with that, I would like to turn this over to the petitioner this evening to present the project that is before us for a special permit. And then I will open it up to city councilors to ask questions, and then finally open it up to the public for questions or comments. So I don't know who wants to kick it off. Alrighty. Is the microphone on?
Jose Almonte owns a property down on North Bridge Street, and he wants to build a four apartment house on it, 2 stories, 4 apartments. It's very consistent with the area. There's an apartment block abutting it on the left-hand side as you're on the street. There's one across the street, and the same type of buildings are behind it, built by the old Holyoke and all them. So it's very compatible with the neighborhood as far as that goes. We were surprised when he came in for building. They told him it's a commercial zone, and therefore he had to get a special permit. Ironically enough, he had a building burned down in South Holyoke, and they can't find apartments for the people, and they're having a lot of trouble. So I think apartments are definitely needed in Holyoke, and I think for him to want to build, we already gave the building plans in, and I don't know if you people got them, but they're right up to date. They'll be modern, they'll be brand new, they'll meet every code restrictions and everything else. If, like I said, next door is an apartment house, I think probably an 8-story, 4-story building, and back of it is the same apartment houses. The parking is to the rear, as the same as the other places along there. The lot was principally used to park cars and that type of thing. Some cars to be waiting to be fixed and stuff. So I think it's an improvement to the area to take it away from a parking lot for, cars that are not abandoned but disabled. And I think this will be an improvement for Ward 1. Get right across the street is a large apartment house. Right next to it's an apartment house, and right behind it's an apartment house. The store next door he owns. If you're standing in front of the building to the left, he owns the store there, and
The family market.
so we filed the application. I don't know what else we could tell you. We've
Okay.
got a copy of the plans if anybody wants to see the plans, but it's very standard. It's going to be compatible with whatever Old Holyoke built down there. It's 2-story with stairs to the front and back, parking in the rear, right off the alley.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Anything to add, or that's it? Okay. I have a quick question. I was looking up the zoning, and it's zoned IG, industrial. Did you consider perhaps, DR is all around it, like nearby it? Did you ever consider perhaps a zone change for DR instead of keeping it in the zone?
Well, we had 2 choices, I suppose. You could go in for a zone change, but it has to be spot zoning.
Right.
Oh, yeah, well, it's not really,
Do you want to have spot
that
zoning?
by definition wouldn't really be spot zoning, but, okay. Thank you. I'm just
The
curious.
special permits seem to be either go in for a zone change, which could be spot zoning because only one lot. Usually zoning is a tract or a lot of space.
Yeah, my point is actually, if you look above it on the map, the zoning above it is all DR already, so that wouldn't necessarily be spot zoning. So it's just something that I thought was interesting and something I wanted to point out. I'm kind of a zoning nerd, so
This is the way we were told to proceed.
that's fine. That's fine. Just a question. Just a question. Thanks. All right, so I am going to see if other counselors at the table here have any questions or comments. Counselor Bartley.
Harold, thank you for being here. What kind of experiences does your client have? And it looks like these are modular homes, so I assume they're not going to be stick built. They're going to be shipped in. Do I read that right?
This is almost the same house. Old Holyoke development was almost built out for almost 20 years in area of Holyoke. I bought the first house in Holyoke in 2021, 193, 191 Cabot Street. Used to bring ready, and if you do the the
Foundation.
exactly. He bring the whole house and put it by piece.
Oh, okay. So what's going to happen? They're not going to dig a foundation. They're going to put a slab on there.
Exactly.
A
Yes.
slab, and then they'll put the modulars
Exactly.
on there. Yeah, they're very attractive looking on the plans anyhow. So you own. Can I talk to your client, Ms.?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Almonte, you have a convenience store next.
I own the whole lot. I own the location, convenience store, the 81 North Bridge. Or somebody rented the location right now.
Okay.
And I used to own the 151, 149 South Bridge Street. The building get burned like July 1st. And basically, it's hard to find an apartment for the tenants in Holyoke. And I tried before this fire happened, I submitted this plan, and I want to continue. I lose like a 7 apartment, 8 unit, because I got a store. I got a store location. It's like an 8 unit building. Everything burned down.
Well, I mean, I thank you for the potential investment. Now, who would manage the units?
I do it personally.
Okay, and how, are you on site a lot? Are you there a lot at the
Absolutely. Yeah, I work in Holyoke for almost 23 years. I'm in Holyoke. I used to be first in down the flat. Now I moved to South Holyoke. And after that, I got another store in Sargent and Maple. Basically, pretty much I'm running Holyoke all day.
Okay, so you'll be managing it. You're in town
Yes.
most of the day anyhow.
Yes.
Most every day, probably including some weekends too, I would imagine. Okay, so it's good to have that. That gives me a lot of comfort knowing that you're going to be there.
Yeah.
I can intervene here for a minute. I never call him without him answering. He has 2 or 3 stores in Holyoke. He's usually in Holyoke almost every day, unless he's on vacation or he's away. He puts probably a 12-hour day in.
Yeah, Harold, that's really very helpful. So I do appreciate that.
He's very easy to reach.
Just timeline, Mr. Almonte. What's our timeline? Do you think to this year? Do you think you want to get it done, or hard to say?
No, I think about maybe next year, beginning of the first year, because now I got the issue with my apartment building. It's burned down. I got to work out now with the insurance company. All the kind of stuff, remove it, all the stuff, clean the area, and pretty much I had to work out with this now. But I try to expect maybe first new year. It started over with us. See, I get approved.
Okay, utilities. Is it electric? What is it? Propane? What is it?
The first time, basically, Holyoke, it gotta be propane for the utility because Zero Holyoke not get allowed to get gas no more. For the new construction, gotta be propane gas. Here, it gotta be electric, and pretty much that's what it gotta be because I gotta look out, everything before, I started over, making sure everything will be in place by the law.
Okay, so probably in 2023 you would do that, and then once they're installed, it shouldn't take that. I mean, if they're modulars, they're going to get installed, and then
exactly.
Then you'll be.
The soon you place the order, the soon you do the foundation, it's not taking long enough to do it.
Okay, then you have to do your hookups and all the rest of that, get your other permits and your CO, and then you're off to the races. So, okay, thank you.
Other questions from counselors? Counselor McGivern?
If I could, to Attorney Bruno. Harold, you said someone, who in the city pointed you, Mr. Almonte, in this direction for a special permit?
Building department.
Okay. Planning department get involved, or the law department?
I don't think the law department was involved. I think it was the building department told him that it was a commercial zone. He had to get a special permit. So that's what they told him to do. So that's what he did.
Thank you.
They didn't advise a zone change. I understand where she's coming from. You could probably add on to the other street, but then half the street would be commercial and half would be non-commercial. I don't know. But getting a special permit seems to be.
No, ultimately it's about use. And, one way or the other, you get to the proper use for the property, is what I think everybody wants, the neighbors, the city council, and so forth. I'm not agreeing or disagreeing with the advice from the building department, but I think maybe, we're going to leave it at that.
I thought it'd be a lot quicker to do the special permit, but maybe I'm wrong.
Thank you.
Other questions from city councilors? I have one question. Do you have any plans for commercial at this spot at all? I know it doesn't look like it, but any plans in the
No.
future?
No.
Okay.
No.
And then just one note regarding parking. Is there adequate parking for residents, or are you planning to go to the planning board for some, like a reduction of parking? Have you considered
No.
whatever's required?
No, just only make a parking for the tenant used to be live in the apartment, only for the
Okay.
tenants.
Okay.
Can I make a suggestion to you people
Sure.
that has nothing to do with this? Would you get armchairs for the people out here, for the elderly to get up and down?
Sure. You got it.
Very difficult, you know.
I absolutely agree. There's a lot of improvements that we could be making for sure.
Give the public no armchairs when you're older.
Yeah, those chairs are, all the chairs need to go. All right.
Just a few.
Yes. Let's see. So from the counselors, yes.
So I just want to follow up on your question
Yes.
about the parking.
Thank you.
Because there's usually ratios, like if you're going to have 4 units of housing, how many parking spaces do you see that you'll be putting behind these units?
It's depend by the plan you do it right now, because I remember I submitted the special permit. Now the engineer had to do complete, go by the city. You gotta make another plan, because it got a lot of space behind. It's big like it got completed lot of space for parking. Maybe it's like I said, don't say maybe. It gotta be more parking for each tenant. Maybe I can give you 2, I give you 1. It's depend. It's depend how many people got in the. But the point is, it got a lot of space in the lot.
Right. And I hear you on that. It's just that if we're going to grant this special permit, I think one of the conditions we'd have to put on it would be that you'd be able to provide adequate parking for whoever ends up living in there on the site, or make arrangements on one of your other properties
Okay.
that they could park there, which it sounds like you could probably do. Is that market that I was looking at yours that's in this proposal?
It's like I said, I can provide each parker for each tenant, 1 parker for each
He
tenant.
owns it but rent it.
I'm sorry?
He owns it but rent it.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. So I'm just saying that I think
Yeah.
that would be something that we would have to make part of the special permit, that there would be adequate parking for the residents in whatever buildings you're putting in there.
And you can check in with the
That's all.
planning department to just, confirm what the zoning requires.
We gave a copy of all the building
Yep.
design already.
Okay. Oh, Counselor Maldonado Velez.
Thank you, Chair Murphy Rombolletti. When I saw the name Jose Almonte, at first I was like, hey, that's the building that just burnt down. So I think my questions in coming into this meeting was very skeptical about providing a special permit to a property owner that just had a building burnt down. But I also didn't know it was you. I've known you my whole life. You've known both the whole part of the community, know who you are. So I guess my questions are not coming more of like what are you doing, but more of like, so what is the plan to make sure? I guess I have two questions for the petitioner. One, what is the plan to make sure that a fire doesn't happen, and what kind of protections are you putting in place? And then 2, I'm interested to know what can the city do better to have a better response to our people that this is our 3rd fire in the last couple months, so that means we have a couple displaced families. So I'm interested to hear from you what the city's response could be different to provide housing for these people.
I don't understand a lot. Understand a lot with the question. You say how I can provide, see, got like any fire in the future for the tenant, how I can secure the tenant. That's what you say?
Yes.
That's why, okay, because the point is, remember, the situation happened for me July 1st, and I don't say I work hard with the city, and you know, like I say, I'm working a 20 year, and I know all the regulation. I check all my stuff every day. Something I say I can handle in my hand, it make it a fire, because and you have the electrics are dated, the heat, everything is dated, everything, and that's something to build it out right now. It's like si you build it out something, you have to be build it out something safety for each people you build it, because si you try to build it out something, move people inside the house, and you don't secure these people, you not right, you not doing the thing right. And that's why I do it. That's why basically I work to the city that soon happened to the fire. I take care of my tenants, I bring it to the hotel. I don't leave it on the street, I don't walk away. See you work with the people have to work with you. And when you work with the city like I do it, me and the city, it make it convenient to stay the whole tenants in the hotel for a whole month. And there's something I know has to be responsible for that, you know, and I make it convenient with the city. And like I say, your question is to make sure that people get safe. Absolutely.
Okay.
Just on another matter, on that fire, he voluntarily put the people up in a hotel and paid for the hotel for at least 11 days, the first 11 days for the people that are looking for apartments. And we got to work out with the city to keep them there for a month. He does get concerns about the safety and the upkeeping and working with his tenants. He's very close to all his tenants. That's
Okay.
my experience with him.
Great. And are there plans for this building to be hardwired? Smoke detectors hardwired? There's a lot of buildings in the city that are not hardwired, and so I think that's just I want to make sure this building, are you planning to do that?
I go, and the first thing I had to do is like sit down with my engineer and make sure everything and be like I told you, making sure everything is doing right.
Okay.
Because I not try to do something, you know, in a way like a safety. I mean, everything had to be right to bring a nice house and good condition for the people to live.
Okay. Councilor Rivera, did you have your hand up?
So I do want to say I've been working very close with Jose and all the fire victims since July 1st. The same day of the fire, Jose went with me personally in my car. I brought him, he put up his credit card. We put up the tenants in the Homewood Suites. Jose has picked up, just like his attorney stated, he picks up all phone calls when I call him. I have not had any complaints from any of the tenants. I've also worked plenty of fires that's happened in Holyoke, and I would have to say that I never ever saw a landlord show up the way he was there, and he showed up for his tenants, and he made it all possible, and he really was working for his tenants and trying to even give them, he goes to other places and gives them references so that they can get approved for apartments. Also, there is other tenants in there that are not taking the apartments, which I don't feel should be Jose's responsibility or the city's on our part. But I do want to vouch for Jose because, like Jose Maldonado say, I've known the Almonte family forever. I've lived in Holyoke all my life. I know them all, and I work closely with them. And I'm still working with the fire victims and trying to help them. But Jose has not denied any kind of services to any of his tenants. So I believe he He's a good landlord. He will continue to be a good landlord.
Any other comments from our counselors? And I don't see any counselors on Zoom. Now I'm going to ask if there's anyone from the public who is in attendance tonight. Come on up and you can say, you know the drill.
Yep, John Rivera, 125 Cabot, apartment number E4. So shout out to my neighbor who lives about 5 blocks away from me. I'm concerned about a couple of things, so I'm glad to hear that the attempts are going to be made to hardwire for the fire precautions and whatnot, because that is a bit of a concern of mine. Secondly, another concern of mine is that, Ward 1 is kind of like going through kind of a state of gentrification. So I'm a little bit scared, when new houses go up. I'm a little bit fearful of the prices that it'll be rented out to, as it might displace other tenants in other buildings, pressing on other landlords nearby to raise their rents. Another reason why we need rent control, but that's in a whole other conversation. There was another concern that I had specifically about the parking. I'm very glad that that's brought up. I hope that it'll be more than adequate parking, because there's adequate parking and then there's, great parking, right? You can kind of have adequate parking where it's suitable enough for a couple vehicles, specifically for vehicles for 4 of the units, but they might back out. So I'm a little bit concerned with that. So I hope that it'll be a little bit more than adequate. So just those 3 main topics is what I'd like to be brought up, but prioritizing the second part is, just fearful of displacing or, other landlords kind of raising their rents. Well, it's about time to, raise rents. So I'm a little bit fearful with that, and any precautions that are able to be took. I hope that they're took to battle against this, and that's pretty much all I have. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Others from the public who are here tonight that would like to speak?
Hey, again. Katie Talbot. I work with Neighbor to Neighbor. I feel like
your address, sorry.
We're in 401 Main Street.
Residential address.
Residential
Hey,
address.
you have to suspend the rules.
No, we already did.
Oh, okay, so we're good. I don't live in Holyoke. I work in Holyoke. I would live in Holyoke if I could find an apartment I could afford, but rent is too high, but that's not this conversation. It does bring up, it is related to JR's conversation, and I wonder what...
We still didn't get your address.
Oh, in Westfield?
Yeah, go for it. Just say your address in
1 Du Bois
Westfield.
Street, Westfield. Okay. I say that with a lot of shame. I'm wondering what your intention is around rent for these units. Are you planning on them being market rate? Are they intended to be low income? And then I would like to raise 2 other concerns when we think about new buildings. I believe Massachusetts passed a law around green buildings and energy use and materials that are being used. So I would just like to make sure that this building that we're going to be using is going to be up to par, and really thinking about our carbon footprint when we're building new buildings, especially in heat zones like South Holyoke. And then my other concern, and it's great to hear, Jenny, that Jose has been so wonderful after the fact. I would have loved to hear some stories of tenants while they've been in his buildings. And I, not directed towards Jose, but Holyoke has a big problem with quality of housing, and absentee landlords and landlords not responding to issues, and continuously having tenants that are homeless because of fires, because of floods. So I would just plug that we need to start thinking about what tenant protections look like in this city, and not just what property owners' rights. And so I think that's it.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Can I ask you a question? Was she in favor or opposed?
She doesn't need to really tell us that. She's just giving her comments and feedback.
Okay. I couldn't tell.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I think she just has concerns that she's allowed to voice tonight. Okay.
May?
Yes, sure. We're going
We're gonna build to code.
I won't hesitate to say that I'm opposed to this if the rents are indeed market rate value. So just saying out there, I am opposed if it is at market rate value. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, more from the audience?
So I would like to add, why just 4 units? There's just many people that are homeless. Why just 4? Is that all you could afford?
I just need your name and address again. My apologies.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's Nikki Dawson, 226 Lyman Street, Holyoke. Yep. So yeah, I was just curious about that.
So that all of the comments have to come through the chair. By protocol. So
okay, yeah.
So direct it. Just goes for everyone. Direct this.
Thank you so much, because this
Yes.
is my first.
Absolutely.
hearing.
This is my first time on the council. We're learning together. Yes,
Wow,
absolutely.
You know, girl, I'm like, wow, this lady
You're
is
doing great.
amazing.
Oh,
You're doing
stop
great.
that.
And
All
I'm like-
right.
And I'm like, we're both wearing yellow, so.
I love it. All right. So, do you want to just repeat that for, because I cut you off halfway
Yeah,
through?
I guess like what added to all those concerns, because I think those are important as well. But I also want to know why only 4? Why only 4 units?
Okay.
That's all.
Thank you. And I will, Mr. Bernal?
The reason for 4 units is when I lived at 75 Center Street, you could park on the street 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 52 weeks a year. Today, you have to have off-street parking. If you try to put 8 apartment block in there, where would you park your cars for 8 apartments? You gotta put the size of the property to the proper amount. 4 is really the maximum that they recommend for this lot, because you're gonna park in the rear, you're gonna go through the alley. And I went down there today, there was cars going in and out of the alley to park on the other side. But if you had an 8 apartment block built, where would you get the, 8 or 10 parking spots? You wouldn't have it.
Okay.
So you've got to build according to the size of the lot, and the lot demands, 4 at maximum.
Okay.
We'd love to build 8. It's not a big deal.
Yep. Okay.
That's the answer. That
Thank you.
You have to build what fits.
Right. I believe I saw another hand in the audience.
Daniel Rivera, 226 Lyman Street, apartment 2L. Just doubling down, tripling down on just the fact of the matter of keeping or wondering whether or not the rent prices per month will be on average with the market or low-income housing or whatever the case may be. Just doubling down and tripling down with what everybody's saying is that is just a big concern, especially with recent events that neighbor to neighbor has recently uncovered with not only Lyman Street, I'm sure with other properties as well, across the board, along the wards. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'll give our proponents an opportunity to. Is there anything you want to comment on if this will be market rate housing? Are you anticipating low income housing or?
It's like when you got the property, is the more important thing is to you hire people, get working, get proof he's working, making sure you get the income to to pay the rent. That's more important. It cover the rent, because some people so you not got a job to how you pay the rent. I got a property that 551 South Bridge. I got a people. I give you fair rent, like I do it all the time, and that's why you come and show me you working and able to give you the rent, because you're the good person, and depend how you move it in the city, you personal, because that's what we call it by record. As soon you do it, whatever you do, you're able to get apartment everywhere. Because if you work it, you got a good credit, you can get apartment everywhere. And I not try to get build out the house to put like, say, sample 2,000 the rent because it's a new house. That's not right. I don't want to keep it for myself. I want to give you apartment for people not have apartment.
Sure.
If the city gives them a guaranteed water bill, a guaranteed real estate tax bill that doesn't go up, then he could set the rents according to what the city wants. But the biggest bills you get are your real estate taxes, your water and sewer bills, your insurance bills, and all those go up. You can't expect a landlord just to bind himself to say he's not going to charge more than X amount of dollars before he even knows what it costs to build the buildings and how much is the city going to demand for water bills, taxes, insurance, and all that. It's real premature to try to determine how much you're going to get for rent.
Thank you. Thanks.
Nobody knows.
Thank you.
You know, rents go up, and
Okay.
he's been, all his apartments that I know, he's been fairly reasonable on it.
Okay.
But I just got my tax bill, and it's the highest it's ever been, so, and I don't think it's going to go down.
Okay. Thank you. I saw Councilor Maldonado Velez's hand.
Thank you, Chair Murphy Ramboletti. I agree with some of the comments that were out there. I mean, things are getting expensive, and rent is one of them. So how do we make sure that people that live in the city can afford to live in the city and stay in the city? So my question is, what is a fair rent? So 1 bedroom, what would you charge for a 1 bedroom right now?
Say for example, two bedroom right now is paid $975, $1,000. That's 2 bedroom right now. 3 bedroom, it go to $1,000 to $300. That's a fair rent to today right now.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I mean, that sounds fair. There's 1 bedrooms right now going for $1,200 easily. So, thanks.
Thank you. All right. Anyone else, whether city council or use the microphone for sure.
Is it possible? First of all, do I have to say my name first, then the question? All
Say your name again.
Nikki, 226 Lyman Street. All right. Crap. I knew this would be a problem. Like, I forgot my question already now. Hold on. Oh, statement regarding adequate parking. This is the city of Holyoke. There are about 30% of disabled who can't even afford cars. So adding extra units probably wouldn't even affect the parking. That's that's all I'm going to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone
Madam Chair?
else? Yeah. Oh, there's a hand. Good eye. Thank you, Jeffrey. I see Laura has her hand up. Laura, can you state your name and address, please?
Hi, everyone. It's Laura Clampett, 182 Locust Street in Holyoke. And my question is to the applicant through the chair. I know you mentioned something about propane, and I was just a little bit confused what the propane was for. I believe you mentioned the heat would be electric. So I was assuming maybe for stoves, but I was just curious why you wouldn't go with like electric stoves. That seems like maybe a safer and possibly more affordable alternative is to have electric stoves, but maybe there's something else for propane that I hadn't thought of.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Basically, the stove it gotta be electric. The propane is special for the heat. It's for the heat, central air. That's what got it because like I told you the first time. Now the city not about you can get more gas. That's why I prefer to get a tank from propane for the heat and air seat.
Okay. And I see a hand again. Laura?
Thank you. Just as a follow-up, I'm just curious if you considered electric heat or like mini splits, something like that. It seems like that would be more environmentally friendly than propane. Thank you.
It's, I consider it, your question, you know, because the heat can be electric. It's no problem at all. No problem. I can get the electric heat and a stove heat, electric. There's no problem.
Okay. Sure.
I think we're getting way off the beam. I don't think what he provides, or how he heats the building, or whether it's going to be gas, electric, or whatnot. I don't even think if he wanted gas, he could get it because of the moratorium. He might have to go to oil. They might not even want to give him electricity when it comes that time.
Okay. With all due respect,
All these things have to go through the gas
Sir?
electric in different places.
Sir,
to
I
determine-
understand. With all due respect, everyone who's here this evening is fully entitled to ask questions and related to, I understand, but that's why we're here tonight. So, I mean, as the proponent, that's what we do this evening. That's what we do at public hearings.
I know.
Okay, thank you so much. Anyone else while we've got it here? Okay.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Great. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Wonderful.
I'll make a motion to approve the special permit.
Second.
All right. Any discussion? Councilor McGivern.
Thank you, Chair Murphy Ramboletti, and thank you to the audience for a lot of good concerns and a lot of issues that need to be talked about and discussed. This evening, however, what's before us is a special permit for use within the zoning laws of the city. This is an unusual request, but something that is certainly a legitimate request itself. The IG zone allows for residential use only by special permit. The only thing this body and the city council has to determine is, does this use compatible with the lot itself? We heard from our ward councilor, we heard from a number of people in the audience about a lot of issues that are, concerns. But tonight we have to determine, can this use fit on this lot? I've heard nothing detrimental to say that a residential building cannot be or should not be built on this lot. Therefore, I will be voting in favor of the special permit for the use of Mr. Almonte. I'm sorry for your loss for your building, very sorry for your tenants. It sounds like you reached out and did the right thing for your tenants. And certainly understand that, being a landlord is not an easy thing. And being a tenant, sometimes when we have absentee landlords, is a very difficult and tragic thing. And we have way too many absentee landlords in this city. It appears Mr. Almonte is not one of those. So I will vote in favor of the special permit.
Councilor Bacon?
Thank you. And I also just want to commend you on how you dealt with the terrible situation that came up there, and that you have been a good landlord, and that I hope people like you are held up as examples, and that we support people like you by approving your your initiatives and your interest in continuing to invest in Holyoke. So thank you.
Councilor Bartley?
Yeah, thank you, through Chair. Harold, thank you for being here. Mr. Almonte, nice to meet you. Really, the questions were pretty pointed, and I appreciate your patience. When you think about abutting communities, that to try to get a multifamily on a lot, and they won't even allow it, whereas the zoning rules are so arcane and restrictive that not only is it single family, but single families on multi-acre lots. And here you are on less than a quarter of an acre lot, putting in 4 brand new units in a fairly low income area. And so for that, you ought to be commended. I've never once opposed any kind of a housing project in the city. I'm certainly not going to oppose this. This is, Mr. McGivern said, this is a highly unusual use of our special permit. I've never seen one in my career like this, but doesn't mean it's not legitimate. I'm glad that your lawyer, who's, just one of the icons of the bar, so you should be, you're well represented. I think this is a unique way to go about using a special permit. I'm glad we had the opportunity to experience it, and I look forward to supporting this on August 2nd. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from our councilors? Discussion?
On the motion.
Great. So All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. 5 yeses. We will be referring this to the full city council at our August 2nd meeting. So I want to thank you both for coming in, thank the public for showing up and tuning in and asking questions that are very important. And with that, free to go.
And August 2nd?
What's that? August 2nd.
August
yes.
2nd. I'll make a motion to take number 3 off the table.
Actually, sorry. I had mentioned this before you got here, but
Yes, she did mention it to me. Are guests for 3 and 4 here or no?
Well, the guest for 3 is certainly here.
Well, yes, I understand that, but item 5 and 6, we have Aaron Vega and John Dijek are here, and this should go pretty quickly. So they've asked to just take it out of order briefly, and we'll get to that. So can I have a motion to take items 5 and 6 out of order? Or not?
So moved.
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed?
Excuse me.
Yeah.
You say August 2nd?
Yes.
My lawyer can come by myself.
That's okay.
The lawyer can come by himself because I can able to come this day.
Okay.
Oh no, I can come. I come.
Okay.
I was saying, you don't have to. You're welcome.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Okay, it won't be questions and answers. It'll be the board discussing it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Well, we didn't have a pandemic then, so. Okay. Item number 5 is that the city council, in accordance with MGL for property disposition, vote that the city accept the proposal and sell 525 Pleasant Street for $20,000 to Indra Harris. The property is described in the city assessor records, and the property is zoned as multifamily residence. It has an assessed value of $40,000. There is a lot of additional information that was provided to us by the planning department, Planning and Economic Development, and we are joined here by Aaron Vega. Mr. Vega, I'm gonna let you take it from here. Oh, we're also joined by John in person. You snuck up on me. Nice to see you, John. Thank you.
Good.
So, yeah, I don't know. There you go. There you are.
Yeah. Good afternoon, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Hello.
Thank you for taking this up. Pretty straightforward. John's in there, obviously. Unfortunately, had bad internet. So before you use a sale agreement, pretty straightforward. This property, you may recall, has come up a few times, even while I've been here. I think this is the second time we've RFP'd it. So it's really makes sense that a butter gets this property. And so that's what we have before you tonight. I think you have it all in your packet. Unfortunately, the person could not be here this evening, but she did send an email. She has a class that she's in, so it's not that she has something that she could get out of. So, but this isn't a butter sale, so I think this makes a lot of sense for this property. Thankfully, it's a new owner at that property, and they were interested in purchasing this property. They reached out to us. We didn't have any other bids on this one, and I think all the other information is in your packet.
All right, thank you. John, anything you wanted to add?
I just wanted to double check that the order has the proper monetary offer amount of $20,111.
Yes,
Okay.
$20,111.
Just an unusual amount.
Yeah.
And I'll be able to answer more questions, but as Erin said, the proponent was unable to attend, so she expressed that to us. And,
Sure.
And I just wanted to also mention that Lori Belanger did quite a bit of work on this process as usual, so just wanted to mention that too.
Great, thank you. I will open this up. Counselor McGivern.
Thank you. John, Aaron, were all the abutters notified of the potential sale?
Yes, and others.
And others, of course, but yeah.
Yes.
And what, the proposed buyer here, what do they intend to do with the property?
I believe the proposal is to build a two-family home, similar to the abutting properties.
Great,
And will there be a reverted clause to address that for a period of time?
Yes, there would be.
Thank you.
Yes, Councillor Bacon.
I just want to make sure I understood correctly that there were no bids on the property prior? Is that what I heard?
The prior RFP did have some interested parties, but nothing came to fruition. One of the issues was a shared driveway there, so it made it a little bit of a challenge. But no other proposals came forward. And so this one, and they do have experience building other units, I believe. They're recent to development, but they've built some other two families, I believe, in Springfield.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Bartley?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, Chair John, actually, this looks like a great proposal. I'm very excited about it. But the property is zoned RM20. What was there?
A house.
There was a house there previously. It was demolished, I believe, by the city a few years back.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2019. There was a home there. I don't recall if it was a single or two family.
Well, how did it get to be RM20?
I think I overheard some of your comments about zoning a little while ago. And I don't know how historically it got to that point.
Right. Yeah, through a chair. Again, that's a semi-rhetorical question.
Yeah.
And the reason that's a semi-rhetorical question, because we have multiple orders and multiple committees relative to zoning and zoning changes. But here we have what historically been a two-family house. Would you agree with that?
Oh, yes.
Yes. On a lot that's RM20. So it's a mystery sometimes why a lot is zoned a particular way, John. We don't always understand the whole history of it, but sometimes we want to handcuff any future developers into maintaining the current zone, regardless of current use or use for historic use, I should say. So that seems to be the idea that we get a lot. Now, again, these are rhetorical comments, and but hopefully they'll resonate at some point down the highway. So again, this is an RM20 lot, never had and so an RM20, John, if I may, the way I understand it, that's an apartment block. That's up to 20 units. That's the way I understand RM20. But to the best of your knowledge, historically, this has been a two-family.
Yes.
Two-family, and the square footage on this lot is what? It's less than 1/10 of an acre, isn't it? Well, that's less than 1/4 acre. A little more than 1/10 of an acre. So okay. I mean, I think this is a great use for it, and I'm grateful that you got the return that you did, and it looks like the proponent has, already has some pretty good plans before us. Do we require those plans? And she's already got a commitment letter from a hard money lender. It looks like.
We require plans of what the concept is for the property. Yes.
All right. And did you ever get, again to the chair, did you ever get from the proponent, because I always like to know prospective timeline on these things. So assuming we...
Yeah, there's a timeline including, I think she was pretty forthcoming.
She's actually here on the call.
Oh, fantastic.
So I don't want to interrupt you, but she does have her hand raised, and so I think that's fantastic. Ms. Harris, would you like to chime in?
Hello.
Welcome.
I made it.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us. John and Aaron were just giving an overview of the proposal, and Councillor Bartley was just asking what your timeline looks like.
So I initially had intended the end of this year, October or so. Things have been getting a little slow with the market and everything that's happening. So I'm thinking of spring of 2023. I don't want to, I can still shoot for November of this year, but I don't want to compromise and then not deliver. So I'm thinking spring 2023.
And is that estimate when you believe construction will begin or construction completed?
Oh, no, to begin construction.
Okay, just wanted to clarify. Councilor Bartley,
Thank
do
you.
you have?
Yep, I'm just to the chair. Ms. Harris, the renderings to me, I can't tell what they are, but it looks like you might be digging a foundation. But what is your vision for the lot? Is it putting a slab on there and putting a modular, or digging a foundation and going from that perspective?
Yeah, so full foundation, modular duplex side by side. I know right now I own the property next door, so that used to be a shared driveway. That might cause some conflict, so my vision is to do a driveway for each unit on the side, that, 1 to 2 cars driveway, because it is a main road, so parking is a concern.
Yeah, I bet it is. It's a busy street, as we all know. To sort of have off-street parking there is pretty pretty valuable. And you said you own the house next door. And just tell me, just if I may, through the chair, just tell me about what is that a two-family as well, and is that rented, and how's that going?
2 family. I'm in the process of finishing the siding. It was in really poor condition. Siding, old wood was rotten. Changing the windows also that were in pretty bad condition. So we're in the process of doing all of that right now.
Okay, so it's under renovation right now, so you don't have it leased?
Not yet, not yet.
Okay, what's just because it's sort of related to this, it looks like. So what's your timeline on that one?
It should be done in the next few weeks.
Okay,
I
and
will say good few weeks.
Great, that's great news. And what's the address of that property?
521.
521.
Places.
Okay, and I'd be remiss if I didn't say it, because I say it to everybody. Thank you for your investment, and I appreciate it, Madam Chair.
Great, thank you, Councilor Bartley. Looking at my other councilors. Councilor McGivern. Oh, sorry. What's going on? Okay.
Just a quick question to either John or Aaron. Who paid for demolishing the house that was on the property?
I don't know.
Who demolished it?
I believe it was the city. I'd have to double check, because I'm also thinking about the next property. That was definitely the city. I believe it was the city.
Thank you.
If I remember correctly, I believe we had this house in housing court, we the city, and then it was taken by the city a few years back, so if I remember. All right. Other questions? Feedback? Okay. Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to accept the proposal here.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, 5-0.
We have 6 in front of us. Do we need to do that one now?
Yes.
Motion to take 6 off the table.
So hold on one second.
Just to conclude with Ms. Harris. So,
Yep.
I'll be in touch about next steps.
Okay.
The council will consider this hopefully at the next meeting.
Correct.
And then
August 2nd.
On
August 2nd.
And then if that goes well, then we can work with our law department on a transaction.
Thank you. And thank you, Ms. Harris, for your investment and for coming tonight.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
The lot is extremely overgrown, and it has a fence that's falling apart. It's kind of making the other property look, it's not beautifying the area, I guess. So every time I look that way, I just want to mow that, but obviously it's not my property. So I don't know. I just wanted to bring that up.
Okay.
Make the request for public work.
We can reach out to DPW if that's.
Well, wait a minute.
We can renegotiate the sale of the property.
Yeah, wait a minute. That's not. How does that work, John?
As is sale, correct?
Yeah, right. Yeah, we're not reaching out to DPW and clean out the lot.
Okay. Let's, all right. Sounds good.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay. Great. So item number 6. Item number 6 is, I've lost my agenda. Here. Thanks. Item number 6 is ordered that the Honorable City Council declare 267 Elm Street as surplus property available for disposition. The property was acquired via a tax lien foreclosure in 2017. It's approximately 5,662 square feet, zoned downtown residential, and is assessed at $34,000. I will invite either Aaron or John to give us a little background here.
Pretty straightforward as we continue to try to move property. There's lots of interest in this area. We know that you've been working with us on some other properties in this area. Pretty straight. I guess that was just interesting questions. John is there. Obviously, you have the packet. This was a taken foreclosure, as was mentioned in 2017. Here for any questions. We're hoping to just keep moving property as best we can and get it out there and developed. And usually I would just say, I think that our new purchaser, just a sidebar for a quick second, we usually try to get the DPW out there before these properties turn over, since they are still city property. Obviously, we just know the DPW has been busy. We worked with them on 123 Pine Street before we turned it over. We apologize for that. But we do try to get them a little bit cleaned up before they get to this part. But, it's on the list of city properties. We appreciate the investment. We'll work with them to get them moving fast. And this one, we want to, again, just work with you to get this out there on the streets and see what interest we can get. As we know, there is a lot of demand for housing, and a lot of developers are looking for property to develop here in Holyoke.
Motion to approve.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, great. I have a motion to approve. Second. And
under session.
And under discussion. Yep, absolutely.
So I mean, since Aaron went back to the prior property, so I'm just gonna under suspension. So Aaron, just through the chair, I mean, just relative to the one on Pleasant Street, you're not contemplating contacting the Public Works Department to go clear a lot that looks like it's going to be put in private hands. Is that?
No, not now. We're saying beforehand. I apologize. Usually we try to get it done beforehand.
Obviously, So obviously that would make sense, because you want to make it as appealing as possible to a possible purchaser. But now it's been sold. Okay. I mean, I'm just curious about that. And then on Elm Street, what's the outstanding amount of tax on the books? Normally you gentlemen put that on here.
I wasn't able to get the number from the treasurer's office, but it was pretty substantial. Looking at the amount of liens, there was a demolition lien because there was a fire, abandoned property. The city demolished it, so it was very substantial for a small property. And but I can try to track down that number if you want.
Yeah, I'd like the number.
Any other questions? Discussion? All right, seeing none. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, the motion passes 5-0. We will be referring this to the Tuesday, August 2nd meeting. Thank you very much, John and Aaron, for being here, and Ms. Harris. And you are all free to enjoy your evening.
Motion to go back to a regular order, take number 3 off the table.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Great. So item number 3, ordered that the City Council invite Jordan Hart, Chamber of Commerce Executive Director, to appear before the DGR Committee. And we have Ms. Hart here. I'd like to invite you to come on in and have a seat at one of these desks. Make yourself comfortable. Thank you so much for being here and for your patience. Oh, yep. If it's green, it means it's on.
Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. So this order was filed to, I know you started, I guess it's been a while now, a year or so, but I'm going to let you introduce yourself and just talk about some of the things that you've been doing as in your role as executive director. Personally, I do a lot of work with the chamber. I know a lot of us here try to support the chamber in many ways, so we're all excited to hear what you've been up to, and then I'll just open it up for some questions, and should be pretty straightforward, and have you out of here soon.
Great. Thank you, Councilor Murphy-Rumboletti. Thank you, councilors, for inviting me. Jordan Hart. I've been with the chamber for, it'll be 9 years in October. I started as Kathy Anderson's part-time administrative assistant, and I've pretty much done every role that the chamber has. And now I'm a Lone Ranger. I'm the one-woman show at the chamber. I was promoted last February to become the executive director, and I've been having a lot of fun with the position thus far. Systemically, chambers are affluent organizations that truly are aimed to really help more affluent businesses, which is not the diversity and the climate that we're working with in Holyoke. We have a very culturally diverse community, and I think that it's really important for a Chamber of Commerce to represent all aspects and all areas of the businesses that it's serving in Holyoke, which I think has not been brought truly to fruition, and it still hasn't. There's a lot of work that still needs to be done, but a few things that we have been working towards is to ensure that we have created a comfortable environment for anyone to come into our office. We're teaching Spanish classes to English-speaking business owners. Right before I came here tonight, I finished up our Spanish class, and we teach beginner and intermediate. We're also working to do English classes as well to help Hispanic and Latinx business owners so that we can further cultivate the business community and just really work together and help each other out more. I think that that's been really challenging because our chamber has never really marketed and made strong impacts to target the Hispanic community. So I think that that's really one of our uphill battles, is making sure that we're providing materials, and whether it's marketing, just information out there so the Hispanic business owners and the Hispanic community can understand that we are here to help them. So I think that that's one of our uphill battles. It's not tedious by any means, but I think it's just something that we need to continue to work on. We've also been able to provide one-on-one business and technical assistance through the MGCC, which we have co-written with Councilor Murphy-Rumboletti, and as her role for E4All. We've been really gracious to receive hundreds and thousands of dollars from the MGCC throughout 2020 and 2021, and hopefully 2022. We'll find out soon. But that's to continue to provide one-on-one business and technical assistance to any business owner in the community, and really make sure that we're addressing their needs. We've contracted a consultant, thank you, who's an E4All alum and also a longstanding chamber member, so it seemed like a natural synergy to contract out to her. Should somebody come in where there's a language barrier, we have 2 translators who are willing to help us out should we need them, and we can just schedule them as needed. Our website is, our whole marketing and our whole brand has really seen a facelift. I wanted us to make sure that we were also a relevant organization. Over the course of primarily the last 5 years, I myself as an employee at the chamber have found it really hard to prove value in what businesses are getting with their membership. So I wanted to make sure that we were providing educational opportunities, networking opportunities, and a facade that really was attractive to young entrepreneurs, to millennials, to Gen Z, and the entire fluid scope of what our business community looks like. And it seems to have been really well received. We've grown our membership significantly over the past year, and that also includes members of the Hispanic business community. Our website's completely translated. I can hold pretty decent conversations in Spanish, but I think, again, that there's still work that needs to be done. And a big, strong arm for me was to make sure that our chamber is a true reflection of the community that we're serving, and that's covering every base, regardless of, who you are and where you come from. In addition to that, I also feel that it's important to be a community partner, and the chamber should be the entity that bridges both the community and the businesses together. Our Holyoke businesses are only as successful as the support of the community that they're serving in, so the more that we can expose ourselves and help uplift our businesses. And show that we're helping out different agencies and organizations and initiatives. You know, we're a partner for the Holyoke Brick Race. We're the fiscal agent for the Paper City Food Festival. We were sponsor for Holyoke Pride for El Noche de San Juan. We are also going to be sponsoring the Patronales Festival that's occurring later this summer. We're the fiscal agent for the we were for Celebrate Holyoke, but for the 150th celebration for the city. So I think it's the more that we can put ourselves out there and showcase that we're here to help the community and help serve the businesses. It's been successful in growing our membership. I'm not a salesperson. I joke that I'm like Willie Loman from Death of a Salesman. That's just not who I am. But I think that I'm able to get folks to join our membership because of the community impact that we're doing, and by building those relationships and building trust with members of our community and having them actually see the impact of what we're doing. We've been working really hard. We have a great working relationship with, you know, Aaron's office and the Office of Planning and Economic Development, the Garcia administration. Many of you know I was the MC for the inauguration. So we've gained a lot of support, we being the chamber, through the city, and I think that we have a really strong working relationship. I feel like I work really well with all of you. Some of you I haven't worked too much with, but I know all of you in some aspect, and I do think that we have always gotten along. And I just continue to build on that and help grow and provide a robust economic climate for our businesses.
Thank you. Great overview, Jordan. Thank you. I'm going to open it up to questions. Councilor Bartley.
Yeah, just through the chair. So, Jordan, that was a really great summary. You're the perfect example of why we came up with this committee the way we came up with it, because we never heard in this body, until we came up with this vision for this committee, to hear from others to tell us their perspective. So this gives us a chance to hear from those out there instead of us just talking amongst ourselves, which is fun up to a point, but believe me, at a certain point it doesn't get so fun. So you're here tonight. You're at least a third, but maybe the fourth executive director in my short tenure on this board. I think at least definitely a third, for sure. So there was some stability early on, and then actually the long-time chair, Doris. I mean, holy cow, she was like an icon of the chamber. And then Kathy came in. Then there was a gentleman came in for about a cup of coffee, maybe a little more than that, and then. But you were there. You've been there for 9 or 10 years now, because I certainly remember you when you started. Because my office was right next door to your office, so I certainly remember you coming in. So that being said, you know, without looking out too far, certainly you've established roots in Holyoke. But in my opinion, the business community needs you to be here for more than a minute. So hopefully you'll consider that. I mean, I want you to know that we want to do our best to support you. That's another thing I want to say is I'm glad you don't walk in here with those obnoxious Grow Holyoke buttons, because if I ever saw one of those again, I'd frisbee it right through the double doors. So I'm glad, Madam Chair, it's just a sense of humor.
We silently hashtag Grow Holyoke on our website.
Thank you.
There you go.
I mean, it's more of a positive outlook that I get, as opposed to coming in and sitting in here and coming up to the microphone once a year to complain about the tax rate. Mm-hmm. So that was usually the feedback we would get from the chamber. That as background, what are our positive aspects as far as Holyoke business goes, and what's our negative, and what are we? So what are some things that we're doing right, and what are some things that we need to do better?
Well, I mean, of course, the tax rate is certainly an issue, but I think that that's been an issue for some time, so it's not anything new. And I do think, of course, the lack of natural gas is a huge problem for businesses coming in. You know, it's certainly more expensive and less eco-friendly to be bringing in propane, but I know that your feet are tied so far in that realm. I do think that in working with the Office of Planning and Economic Development, getting a lot of these abandoned buildings, specifically in our downtown, refurbished. I think that there's a lot of interest in wanting to start businesses in the city and invest in the economic growth that we're seeing. But one of the challenges is that, businesses, of course, are unable to open a business certificate if the property owner has back taxes. So we have an abundance of vacant properties, but aspiring entrepreneurs and business owners can only go so far as far as developing that. But I know that that's a work in progress, and it's not something that we can change overnight. But the fact that there's actual progress on that is comforting. And as terms of some of the highlights or silver linings, if you will, we do have really inexpensive electric, which is appealing. I think that there's a unique synergy with the community and the businesses, and when we see people wanting to start up, I think that there's also a growing sense of pride that I think has always been here, but it's starting to become more, I don't want to say in your face, it's a little, but it's more apparent than it has been in the past. And I think that the cannabis industry, in my opinion, has been kind of the anchoring manufacturing industry to support that economic growth, because they are an industry that has the capital to be able to, fix a lot of these mill buildings, and it's also helping to bring tourism into our community, because we know that people from neighboring states and neighboring communities are going to be coming into Holyoke, and so we're seeing more restaurants opening up, we're seeing more activities opening up, and we're seeing more artwork, more culture, more of that civic pride that we're seeing. And I think that there's little pockets of hope and faith and action that are all kind of coming together. It's almost like take a Converse All-Star shoe, and it's very tall, there's a lot of laces, and all the laces are kind of loose, and we're kind of starting to tighten everything up to become, more complete.
Yeah, thanks for that. That's a great answer. You really gave me a lot to chew on there. Just in your opinion, what's one or two areas of the city that could really use the benefit of some entrepreneurship or some commercial investment? And then what's one area of the city, in your opinion, that you think is really really turning a corner as far as commercial business use?
I certainly think that Main Street needs to be truly a Main Street. I think it needs to be a little more. Definitely, Main Street needs a lot more focus. I think that there's a lot of organizations that are currently that have been there for many years. I think that perhaps the facade improvement program would be a really great opportunity to help with the storefronts. Enlace, I know, has been struggling with a leaky roof. I think that there's just a lot of organizations that need more support, especially with it being our neighborhood that generates the least amount of income. I also would say High Street, but also High Street is also where we're seeing a lot of economic growth as well. I think that, once you hit Appleton Street and move towards Lyman, you see a lot more activity happening. There's a lot more people walking around. There's a lot more restaurants, there's storefronts, People's Bank right across the street here in the new Vision Center for Holyoke Health Center. So I think that there's been a lot of investment on High Street as well, and a lot of attention. And I know that there's a TDI fellow who's going to be starting this fall, and their attention is going to be from 850 High Street down to Appleton. So I think that with the work going there, it's going to kind of flow through and really create a very vibrant High Street like it was some decades back.
And then my last comments, just to follow up, and I appreciate that answer too, because that's very helpful to me. Two separate comments. One is your resources with HG&E and Holyoke Waterworks, two incredible, veteran, knowledgeable people whose names that we all know very well. And I would like to make sure that you continue to reach out to them and call them and lean on them and help them promote you and vice versa, because they are both huge proponents of the city, and they're so knowledgeable about all the things that you just talked about. I mean, we have so much water, it's beyond belief. Mm-hmm. I mean, I visited so many communities this summer for various things I've been doing. Water restrictions everywhere.
Right.
None in Holyoke.
That's true.
The electric rate that you're very familiar with, we have the best gas and electric in the Commonwealth. We have the best manager out of all the municipal utilities in Jim Lavelle, and Dave Connie is a manager of the waterworks. So I just want to make sure that you reach out to them, because they certainly are in your corner for sure.
Absolutely. Mr. Lavelle has served on our board and continues to serve on our board, and they're corporate partners of ours, so they give us a significant amount of money to help, which helps fund us. So
Without a doubt. And then to your point about tourism, one thing that's been sticking in my craw since we approved and we went through it, Joe was vital in all this stuff when we were doing this stuff, is the Amtrak station. Now, good for us, we got it, and good for us, we all had a ribbon cutting, and we got a really great platform and a nice look. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, it's one south and one north per day. That ain't helping. So there's got to be somebody you can talk to, whether it's the state delegation or the federal delegation, or there's a lot of talk out of Boston, out of East-West Rail. Well, that's great. But, I mean, if you want to promote tourism, especially with young people, I think they really like thinking about carbon footprint, and there's no more green mass transit opportunity, a better one anyhow, than taking a rail.
Sure.
So I would love to see that somehow made into a real destination for, I mean, the Mount Holyoke students, and they can come here, and they would. It's so convenient for them, HCC students, whomever, or just regular tourism that you mentioned. I would love to see that promoted further, but the only way it's going to happen is if we get more more trains coming through Holyoke, and hopefully that's something that you might have a chance to weigh in on.
I think that's a great idea, and I know that the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission has been working on studies for some time to enhance the rail systems, and I believe they're also trying to get the East-West Rail back in place. I think a lot of that would also be helpful if there was more businesses that opened up by the platform, so that folks, when they do come off, they can go to a wine bar or have a cup of coffee and enjoy a nice sandwich. So I think that what you're saying is absolutely true. It would be great to have more trains going through. It's a beautiful platform. I had headshots taken there last year. So I think it's a great asset for our community, but I think that we also simultaneously need to provide something for folks to do either while they're waiting for the train or for when they get off the train.
Well, you can talk to Mr. Whitman, who now owns the Hotel Jess. So maybe, I mean, he's a responsible professional person, but I haven't seen much activity there, but perhaps I'm not seeing it, and perhaps you can
I know
ask
the
him.
adjacent building is also, I saw going up for auction, which would make a fantastic roller skating rink if you ask me.
Well, thank you.
Thank you,
I saw
Counselor.
Councilor McGivern had his hand.
Thank you, Chair Murphy Ramaletti. I appreciate it. Jordan, welcome. And I have to say, I've always been a fan of the Greater Holyoke Chamber of Commerce, the connection with elected officials, with government officials, leaders, to keep our business community in the forefront of the things that we do, we vote on, the things that we are responsible for. There's no doubt you are a product of your colleagues, but there's also no doubt with your overview tonight that you are yourself and a new leader for the Chamber of Commerce, and your vision tonight and where the Chamber is going was very much welcomed by myself, and very promising, I think, in a lot of areas of what we need to do as a city, as a business community, but as a city on the whole itself. I always loved the facade improvement program. I know it's still barely hanging on, but maybe we can revive it and get it going again. And I've always loved the connection, and Councilor Bartley's correct. Oftentimes the business community we would hear in room 1 with the mayor and with advisory committees, which is important. But to hear it here in the chambers, I think, is also equally important. There's one area I don't want to talk in detail about tonight, but I have a question for you.
Sure.
Our downtown parking plan is in shambles. It once was the premier of the Pioneer Valley in terms of offering parking to residents, to businesses, to tourists, to customers, and we've lost it. And there is an advisory committee that's been revised by Mayor Garcia. Is the chamber been invited to participate in that?
I'm actually the chair.
Oh, you just gave me the right answer.
And so Councillor McGivern. It was by unanimous decision. I had no choice.
All right. Then you answered my question. I feel much better.
So to give you a little bit more information, we're going to be providing Mayor Garcia with an RRP so that we can do a new parking study, because the last parking study that was conducted was in 2012. I think it was by Jeff Burkott and one of his colleagues. So Mayor Garcia is interested in having a professional company come in and actually take a look of it. The last time it was done, Ray Street was nowhere near developed, so Ray Street's not even incorporated in that. We're also trying to get a strong push for more residential, more residents to live in our downtown, so that could also encompass residential parking. And certainly we'll have a strong focus on our 2 parking garages to make sure that we have a more fluid and cohesive system. And I know Councilor Maldonado and Councilor Bartley are also on the committee with me as well. So I'm sure at one of these council meetings you'll hear about our RRP that I will be sending out to our committee. So Councilor Bartley and Maldonado, check.
Thank you. I feel much more at ease.
And thank you for your kind words, Council McGivern.
Council McGivern can sleep at night. Tonight, anyway. All right. Other questions? Sorry, I did not. Oh, okay.
I'll be brief.
Okay. Councilor Bacon and then Councilor Maldonado
Bartley
Velez.
and Councilor McGivern covered questions very well, and your overview was very good. And I just want to say that I really appreciate the positive energy along with the common sense that I'm hearing from you. Do you know what I mean? It seems like a good combination. So thank you.
I appreciate that, Councilor.
Councilor Maldonado Velez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, I just want to commend Jordan for everything she's done. I know 3 years ago, I think, I was planning on joining the chambers, and as soon as I went on that website, I spent like 5 seconds on it. I'm like, nope, I'm getting out. And I'm on the website now, and I know you just told me it was updated about a week ago, and just seeing just the website on the virtual side, on Facebook, on Instagram, just your presence on social media, on online, and out in the real life community at all these different events, whether you're hosting them or you're just attending, you're making your presence known out there. And I know you have a big push for the Hispanic community, but I know some of the members are part of the Hispanic communities and the ones that you're trying to really get in there. So I just want to again commend you for all the work that you've done, and echo Councilor Bartley's remarks about hopefully you'll stay here more than a minute.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Councilor Rivera.
Jordan, thank you for all you do. Look forward to keep working with you. And also want to say thank you for stepping up for all the fire victims. The checks really helped them out.
Oh, it's my pleasure. We were able to utilize the funding that Mayor Morse had raised with the GoFundMe some years back for the New Year's fire. We had almost $4,000 sitting there for years. So one of my board members made the great suggestion to utilize it for that. So we were able to empty that bank account to help the recent fire victims.
Awesome.
I'm sorry, that's my phone.
It's okay. You're forgiven. Right? That's the music to exit the stage. I'm not going to reiterate what everyone said, but as someone who works with you on a regular basis, I'm just very proud of what you've done and what you're doing, and I'm excited to see what you've got in store for us over the next year. So thank you for being here, for staying and waiting it out. And with that, I'll take a motion that this order is complied with.
So moved. Second.
Great. All those in favor?
Aye.
Great. Thank you, Jordan.
Great. Thank you, councilors.
Thanks.
I'll make a motion to take number 4 off the table.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great. So this is ordered that DGR invite George Mulrey, Volleyball Hall of Fame Executive Director, to a meeting in May or thereafter, and we're here at thereafter, to discuss the new hall inductees, the future of the hall in Holyoke, and other programming related to volleyball in order to help promote the game in the city and the region. So I just want to thank you, George, for still being with us and your patience, and for being here tonight, because we're excited to hear what you have all been up to. So with that, I'll just allow you to fill us in, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. Thank you for the opportunity to speak before you, give you an update on Hall of Fame. I do want to mention that I am also the treasurer of the Chamber of Commerce, and it has been a pleasure. Not only is she a great person, but she's the right person that the chamber needs right now. So I want to make sure I say that publicly. But back to the same stuff, we really spent the pandemic. I was able to get a donation from one of our Florida donors. It was $100,000 over 4 years, and we were able to use $25,000 of that for a refresh of the museum. Our museum was basically completed in 1998, and then there was very little to update it since then. So it needed a lot, so we're refresh and repaint most of the interior of it. We added a new wall, 120 linear feet of new exhibit space, and we created a few new exhibits. Volley is one of the most notable ones, but we're looking to really share a little bit more of the history, be able to tell a few more of the stories just of the history of volleyball, and really trying to tie it into Western Massachusetts and Holyoke in particular. Early on, we were the Hall of Fame of USA Volleyball, and in 2014, we officially changed to the Hall of Fame for the entire world. With all that encompasses the world, our staffing has still stayed the same. So I am an army of one. I have a terrific board of directors, but I'm the only staff person. So part of the donation from our Florida donor has been to squirrel away some money to build up our reserve fund so that we can hire some additional staff at the museum. We were able to use some of the ARPA tourism funding to keep the museum open and expand our hours over the summer. So we've been open 6 days a week, which has been absolutely terrific. We had a few hundred visitors, and the really great thing for us is that 95% are from Massachusetts at all, let alone Holyoke. So we have folks from Alaska, California, Maine, Vermont, all coming to visit our museum. And the great thing about that is it's not just coming to visit the museum, they're sticking around to have lunch at Crave, or they'll go down to Blue Gatherings if they have stuff going on, and grab a quick sandwich or something there as well. So we're having that bit of effect on local tourism. Certainly we'd love to have tens of thousands of visitors each month, but we know that a lot more to do to really market ourselves and continue doing that. So we're very happy with where we're at. We know that there's a lot more we can do, but again, just getting some new marketing materials, being able to fully be open and important for us. So we're really happy with that. And I think we can't be more pleased with the induction that we have this year. First, second, Holyoke events. Both events are going to be exclusively in Holyoke, and we're going to celebrate 6 inductees. The most notable of them is Carrie Walsh Jennings from the United States. She was a 4-time beach Olympian. She won gold in 3 consecutive Olympics for the United States and won bronze in recent. So she is probably one of the largest icons of the sport. Certainly important for us to have a female icon. We're looking at a lot more what we can do to really represent the sport of volleyball wholly, and to be more inclusive. This year, we're also going to celebrate our first paravolley inductee. And so paravolley is basically volleyball. Started out as volleyball for the disabled. And so it's most folks that different types of disabilities that are able to compete at the Paralympics. And so we're going to recognize the founder of World Paravolley, inducted in our leader category, who will be here in person to accept. He's from the Netherlands and is really excited to make the trip to Holyoke. And in addition to that, we have the most notable coach of all time, who is the coach of the men's Brazilian team. He has 45 medals in his career. It's astounding. He coached the men's and the women's team. And really one of, again, just some of the most notable people are included in this class, along with an inductee from Italy, who played on their Italian team in the early 2000s and the 90s when They were really at the top of the world. We have a setter from the Brazilian team who, ironically, is the ex-wife of the coach that we're inducting, which will probably make it interesting, but she's more than deserving. And then Peter Murphy is a leader from the Netherlands who was instrumental in kind of technical director for Dutch volleyball and kind of bringing them from really not having any success in the world to ultimately winning an Olympic gold medal at the 96 games. So it's a terrific class. Our mayor's reception is on Friday, October 21st. That's really the opportunity for the city council and other invited guests to kind of have these intimate one-on-ones with the inductees in the volleyball VIP that are flying for this weekend. And so I hope that you're all able to join us. You will get official invitations if you have not already, but I urge you to save the date. 6 to 8 p.m. Hall of Fame Museum. We had in the past done that event at Wisteriahurst, and we all know that if we're going to show off Holyoke, that's a really great place to do it. But we thought it was very important to bring these volleyball people into their mecca and bring them right into the Hall of Fame. So we've done that for induction, and the feedback is very good so far. So
Great.
I think just looking forward to the future, working with the YMCA. I know that they've had some youth volleyball programs going on, so I've sat and met with them about how we can offer some support with that, especially from a coaching standpoint. Again, we know that we don't have a lot of manpower, but I certainly have the connections to get some additional help as needed and additional promotion as well. So I think they're doing some really great things to help promote volleyball in the Holyoke community. I think that Hall of Fame can certainly do more toward that end, but I think it's going to take a collaborative effort from more than just the Hall of Fame to make it happen. We're talking about facilities and what we need to run some of the events that we have. The girls' high school invitational tournament that we have, we need a minimum of 6 courts to do it all in one location, and there's nothing in Holyoke that can do that. Holyoke High School is 2 courts in one gym, 1 court in a side gym. Holyoke Community College is 3 courts in one gym, and so there's crossover between the courts, and it's not logistically sound. Have teams come in from Washington, D.C., and Maine, and New York, and Connecticut, and all these state champion teams, and ask them to hop on a bus at 12 noon after they finish playing their first round to go to a different site. It's just not possible during a long day. So I think that we're really excited about the possibility of exploring facilities for the Holyoke that would help with our programming and help with some of the programming, the youth programming that other volleyball clubs and youth organizations have been doing in Holyoke and elsewhere. Finally give them a home to do that. And potentially, perhaps that's a spot that the Hall of Fame could move to and maybe free up some space for the Children's Museum. I would say that the biggest piece of feedback that we get from just about every single visitor that we have is just how challenging it is to find the Hall of Fame. So I don't know if it's a wayfinding thing or if it's just because we're not right off the highway and have the beaten path a little bit. But I think that, making ourselves, and again, part of that, but making ourselves more accessible will be pretty important for our future going forward.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
I couldn't tell if he was still talking. Okay, awesome. Thank you very much, George. That was a great update from you, and I'd like to open it up. Councilor McGivern.
Thank you, Chair Murphy Ramboletti. George, thank you, and the overview was fantastic to something I think is very important to all of us as Hoyokers, because it's very important to this entire world. A simple sport that was introduced by Morgan to allow all individuals play at a competitive level. And I can't help but to think, but I just went to a tournament, so to speak, a fundraiser for a young Hoyoker who we lost, the volleyball tournament at Crozier Field for Artisan Dennis to raise some money for scholarships and stuff in his name. And to me, that represents the spirit of what volleyball is. And also the spirit of volleyball in Holyoke, Volleyball Hall of Fame, is those Hall of Famers in the class coming up that you mentioned. And there's so many Hall of Famers that have come through this city and been able to share, with us, what their talents and what their sport has done for them and to be recognized at such a high level. And I wish, because I sit on the Friends of the Holyoke Merry-Go-Round, and I wish there were better times for all of us in keeping our doors open and, you know, figuring out how operating expenses can keep the public happy to come down and enjoy what is to offer. But we just sat with Amy at the Children's Museum, and we hope to sit with you soon, because I think there's room for working together to promote Heritage Park and to promote, you know, the three downtown entities that not only attract Hoyokers, but attract people from around the world. And thank you for the overview, and thank you for what you do. And what are the hours of operation at the moment?
It's 11 to 3 every day, Tuesday through Sunday. So we are closed on Monday right now. But I am in the office, and actually we've had several visitors on Mondays. I keep the door unlocked, so it's worked out.
Thank you.
Great. Councilor Bartley?
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Madam Chair. Just through the chair to George. George, thanks for, I filed this with Will some months ago. I'm grateful we took it up. This is actually perfect timing to take up this order. It's really great because it gives us a heads up about October 21st. I attended the event last year, George, and I was just really impressed. It was so much better than what I was expecting. I was just a lot better than what it was at. Even though it was nice at the Wisteria Hearst, it was just that much better at the hall. So I'm grateful you pulled that together. I'm pretty excited about Carrie Jennings. I mean, there's not too many bigger stars in volleyball when you have a 3-time gold medalist. Is Misty May in the Hall of Fame? Her partner?
Misty was in 2016.
Yeah. She was already inducted. Yeah, I thought she was. Yeah, I thought so. So that's her iconic partner. I mean, those are just amazing stars in the sport. And then I emailed you over a little while ago about Wilt Chamberlain, and then Wilt, it turns out, is not in the Hall of Fame, but he's in some lesser Hall of Fame. So, I mean, wouldn't that be amazing? I know he's been passed for a while. I mean, I know that, but it's not like we can have Wilt Chamberlain come to Holyoke. But I'll tell you, Bill Russell's been here many times, and he's been to Holyoke many times. So just a point of reference there. But as far as the collaboration, George, you mentioned Holyoke High School, HCC. To have a big tournament like you were referencing, I'm sure those schools would love to come to the Volleyball Hall of Fame or a site nearby. What does that really entail?
Just more courts, honestly. It's just a number. The teams that are traveling in, they want to play the best competition. They want to play as much as possible. They'll play as much as 15 sets of volleyball in a day, and it's going to be against 6 other teams. And so the way that works out is they play 3 teams in one pool, and they play another 3 teams. But the day lasts 8 a.m. all the way through 7. And so if everything's not in one spot, there's not really an opportunity for them to have to move around from one gym to another gym.
And
so
have you been to those tournaments, George, in your professional career, and you've seen what they're like? And so I'm just curious as to, how many people does that really bring in? Is it like a couple hundred, a couple thousand, and then what does that mean to the local area that's hosting?
Yeah, I mean, the more teams you get, the larger the impact. So our is going to be in 24 to 32 teams, about 18 people. And I think one of the interesting things about volleyball is girls volleyball, they travel very well. So it's going to be mom, dad, brother, sister, grandma, grandpa, and then an aunt that lives nearby, stop by. So they'll pay and they'll go out for dinner, they'll do what they need to do. If it's a boys, you might be lucky if you get one parent or a girlfriend or a boyfriend. And so there's challenges there from a financial aspect because none of these gyms are free. So I think there are some gyms and some facilities that, the New England region of volleyball hosts a 28-court event at the Hartford Convention Center, at the Boston Convention Center. They're hosting over 100 courts. And so now we're talking 700-800 teams from 25 different states. They're all paying for hotel rooms. They're all staying there multiple days. Our events right now are just single-day events. So about half the teams are staying in hotels, and the other half are driving back and forth. And so we just provide them with the hotel opportunities, and the ones that stay will make a better impact on our community.
Yeah.
But it's usually Mass as a whole and not necessarily just in Holyoke. Some of the lodging that we have in Holyoke, the Homewood Suites is our headquarters hotel for induction, but they're all king beds with pull-out sofas. And so when you start bringing a team in there, you really need 2 beds in a room. And so we run into that challenge, especially with our inductees. If they're 2 inductees with their family members, we sometimes have to get them 2 rooms versus just being able to have 2 beds and a pull-out sofa or a cot for them to do. So there's just a lot of logistical challenges right now to use the infrastructure that we have in Holyoke. But I think we're looking to figure out creative ways to continue to do that and to maybe create some different events that will allow us to.
Yeah, it's great. George, thanks for being here. Thanks, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
I just want to say thank you.
No problem. Councilor
I didn't mean to interrupt Councilor Bartley, but I was at the Wisteria Hearst when Misty May, the year she was inducted, and I believe with her comments, George, she said her partner would be there soon, and she was right. But
yeah, she was. And I think if there's 2 things that I can add, one is if you have ever been to one of our induction events in the past, I think the largest complaint is the length of the speeches, the fact that since we are international, many of our inductees have used interpreters in the past, and so now we're doubling the length of speeches. We have gotten a lot better at streamlining our event, and we continue to improve it. But I know that the feedback that we've gotten is folks that have come within the last 2 or 3 years versus those that have come to maybe 8 or 9 or 10 years ago. This is a completely different event and a totally new experience. So I would urge you that not just the mayor's reception, again, is that intimate one, but on October 22nd, we'll be at Wyckoff Country Club for the main induction dinner and ceremony. And you're only going to be there for about 2.5 hours, 3 hours when you include the dinner. So it's a long night, but you get to feel the emotion there. And I think the second thing that I want to point out is that our Hall of Fame budget doesn't allow us to cover the airfare for our inductees. So every inductee that you see in Holyoke wants to be there. They're paying their own way, and whether it's going through their federation or out of their own pocket, I think it just helps show how important Holyoke and the Hall of Fame is to the sport of volleyball. And I think that that's an important piece that shouldn't get lost in this.
Thank you, George. That's great information, actually. I'm looking forward to joining, and we appreciate you giving the save the date in advance. Councilor Maldonado Velez?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Real quick, I was going to say I played 2 sports in high school. One of them was volleyball. Coach George was my coach for 2 years, so I would say thank you for that. I mean, I was JV, so I can't say I was the greatest volleyball player. But the honest, the reality, when people think sports, usually football, basketball, baseball, those are the 3 standard. And volleyball, even as a city, as the birthplace of volleyball, is still seen sort of under the rug or like an afterthought. So I just want to thank George for having the passion for this sport, because I've seen the effect of it on some of my friends that have played sports with me. But also, I think the only team that we've had so far this past year was the volleyball team that they won Western Mass. So clearly it's a sport that, can do great things for our city, and it's a huge benefit. So I'm glad that you're in the forefront and look forward to working with you more.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you much.
All right. Not seeing anything else, so I would entertain a motion.
Comply with.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Great. Thank you so much, George, for coming and for waiting for us to take this item up. We really, really appreciate all that you do for our community.
No problem. This is important. I appreciate it. Thank you for allowing me the time. And looking forward to seeing you guys in October. And I'll talk to you
Awesome.
before then.
Thank you. Motion, is there a motion to take item
So moved. To take up item
7? So, second?
Second.
This is actually just, the plan is to give this leave to withdraw. This is the special petition application for Patrick and Melissa Leahy at 9 Wyckoff Ave for pool and equipment. There's no longer a need for this special petition application.
So moved.
Second.
And all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
And
Great.
motion to adjourn.
Well,
Just a quick question.
Yes.
Is this at the request of the petitioners? The leave to withdraw?
No.
Okay.
Well,
I think
well, after the zoning language changed, then I thought we all agreed that there wasn't a need for this one any longer since it's now allowed by right.
Not debating that. It's
Okay.
just because it's a petition.
Oh.
The petitioner should.
Is this that procedural stuff again, Counselor?
The petitioner needs to endorse it, or we need to vote it up or down.
Oh boy, so okay.
So we could still make the motion and take the vote and get the petitioner to say that's a wonderful idea.
Okay.
For the next meeting.
Okay. So why don't we do that? We're gonna still take the vote. That's great, and then Jeffrey will help me out with that.
There you go.
And I learned something else new today. Fantastic. So we had a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All those in favor? Aye. Thank you, everyone.